Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Hey everybody, you're tuning into the Morning Wood on the Woodward Sports Network, featured on the Roar 93.5 FM, 99.1 FM, and 94.7 HD2. It's Monday. We've got Monday Night Football tonight. We've got the Packers versus the Lions. We've got Adam and Jeff here. They're waving. We're excited. But remember, you can come hang out with us tonight for the pregame show at O'Toole's in Royal Oak. Braylon Edwards will be there. Ryan Armani will be there. Maz will be there. I'll be there. It'll be a lot of fun. And the most important part, we will have Jose Cuervo drink specials. So make sure you come out tonight at O'Toole's from 6 to 8 to hang out with the gang. But before we talk Lions, we've got to talk some college football. And I called this one. I was very excited when this came true. It was a great game. Michigan State beat the U 38-17. So, Jeff, I want to hear your thoughts on the game.
Quickly, before we get into the game, let's just address the obvious. And it's Kenneth Walker III. I mean, my Lord. He has 493 yards and 5 total touchdowns in just 3 games. And everyone saw the first game my man had. It was over 200 yards. Wasn't a fluke. Came out versus Miami, a pretty respectable team, and just got it done. I mean, if you got a defense that'll force 2 interceptions and 2 fumbles, along with Kenneth Walker doing his thing, it makes Peyton Thorne's job a whole lot easier, allows them to really control the time of possession, which they did. I mean, Miami couldn't run the ball, and they kind of had to put the offense in Derek King's hand, which you saw how that worked out. He had a fumble early on. The team also had another fumble later in the game, 2 interceptions. Obviously, it was 17-14 really up until the third quarter, which at that point, it was still a good game, and then Michigan State just exploded for 21 in the fourth quarter. I mean, they look good on both sides of the ball. Peyton Thorne stays pretty much perfect. I mean, 9 touchdowns, 0 interceptions thus far in the season. And just seeing this matchup, it should make Spartans fans more excited for October 30th at Spartan Stadium, because you saw Jalen Naylor looked good in the pass game. The secondary was a little shaky at times. But, hey, if you got Derek King attempting 60 pass attempts, you stopped the run and you did your job. So, I mean, mainstream media really needs to start talking about Mel Tucker and the Michigan State Spartans, because if people are allowed to sit up here and say, listen, Mel Tucker needs at least a class or two to get this thing going, and he's undefeated thus far with a sophomore quarterback and a lot of transfers coming in the portal, like Kenneth Walker. My God, no one expected this man to come out and get, over 200 yards, 500 yards in just 3 games. It's absurd. But they performed well. They beat a Miami team. We all thought they'd win, but nonetheless, it was still a good game. It was a great game.
Everybody in this room thought Michigan would win, or Michigan State would win. But consensus around the country, it was Miami's game to lose. And you're talking almost a touchdown underdog for Michigan State. And they walked in there and they trounced Miami. It was close for a majority of the game. You went through 3, almost even midway into the fourth quarter before it really started getting away from Miami. But come on, Mel Tucker's done a phenomenal job, especially in the transfer portal. He has done a phenomenal job plugging holes with leftovers from other schools, and it's worked out perfectly for them. They're 3-0. They have Western Kentucky up next, then Rutgers, and then Indiana. And you know who's waiting for them if they get through the next 3 games? Possibly a 6-1, maybe even a 7-0 Michigan team. We don't know yet. They've got they're away to Nebraska. They're away to Wisconsin. Lots of tough games for Michigan to play, but let's focus on Michigan State. On the road, keep in mind, in a hostile environment. Peyton Thorne, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, but the kid was completely poised and had probably the best composure I've seen out of a Michigan State quarterback probably since Kirk Cousins. I mean, Michigan State have got their quarterback. That's it. They've got a guy that can win them 9-10 football games if you have a good enough team around him. He's proven it. The guy looked really good, really good. To go into Miami and win the way you did was more impressive than I think any Big Ten win or any win from a Big Ten team this year. There's no Big Ten team outside of maybe Iowa beating Iowa State the way they did, where I look at the win and I was like, wow, that was impressive. What State did, granted, we expected State to go out and win. It felt like it was going to play out that way. But for them to go out and smash Miami 38-17, my goodness. Mel Tucker, take a bow. Kenneth Walker, take a bow. Peyton Thorne, take a bow. Like, this is such a good football team. I really, really like it. And Michigan State, again, they're on the road to a possible 6-0 start, heading into East Lansing, hosting their arch rivals, Michigan. You want to talk about building a storyline? I said, 13 days ago that both teams are likely to start 5-0? Forget Michigan for a moment. Michigan State are likely to start 6-0. Western Kentucky next week, I don't see any trouble there. Rutgers? Meh. Rutgers are playing Michigan next week, so if they get trounced by Michigan, I'm not sure where their confidence is going to be heading into East Lansing.
Right.
And then they're away to Indiana. Okay, that's a good barometer. Like, all right, away to Indiana, it's going to be, we're going to figure out what kind of team we are, but we kind of already know. But still, you're already 5-0 up until that point. You beat Indiana. You're in East Lansing hosting Michigan. Halloween night, undefeated. You're probably 6-0. Where you are in the polls is probably completely different than where you are now. Talk about a season for the Big Ten so far. Ohio State's essentially fallen off. Their first 3 games have been a struggle. They're 2-1. They barely got past Tulane. Michigan State, Penn State, Michigan to an extent, Iowa. These are the teams that have emerged this year, and I couldn't be happier. Even Wisconsin to an extent. So, Jeff, Michigan State moving forward, what are you expecting? Is this what you're gonna? Is this the Michigan State you're gonna see every Sunday going forward? The team that showed up against Miami?
Especially with the program Mel Tucker's trying to put together. You want to see consistency. And thus far, in 3 games, we've seen just that. I mean, 38 points in their opener, 42 against Youngstown State, following up with 38 against Miami, Florida. Like, obviously, if we know one thing, it's this offense is consistent. So is the defense. So Nebraska, I don't think they'll have trouble. It's going to be a great test for them, Nebraska. I think they'll beat Western Kentucky and stuff. And then they got Rutgers, Indiana. I think both teams, up until that October 30th matchup, we could see a Michigan versus Michigan State, both undefeated at Michigan State. I think that's great for the Big Ten, considering this year might be the year these teams could actually have a chance against an Ohio State.
Well, let's backtrack now. Before the season, what was the one thing I told you was a super fireable offense for Jim Harbaugh in Michigan? It was to lose to Michigan State.
Yep.
And then again, that was going into year 2 of Mel Tucker's rebuild. You didn't expect this team to win 8, 9, 10 games. You thought this was a 5, but I felt personally it was a 6, maybe a 7-win team overachieving. But they've already got 3 in the bag. An away win to Miami. They've got Michigan coming to East Lansing. They've got everything lined up in their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you don't expect it, but in their eyes, they're walking in 6-0 against Michigan on Halloween night, and they can possibly move to 7-0. And with a win against Michigan, likely they move into the top 8 in the AP polls, and I find that remarkable. I mean, who would have thought? Who would have thought going into the season we would be talking about Michigan State as a potential contender in the Big Ten? It's an amazing story. There's so many games left to play, but
let me
early on, I'm so impressed with what Mel Tucker's been doing.
Let me revisit that question. So, if a Jim Harbaugh loses to Michigan State at Michigan State, what are your thoughts on it now, seeing how good Michigan State's been playing?
I still think it's a fireable offense. Jim Harbaugh 0-12 as an underdog as the Michigan head coach. Mel Tucker, granted, he's the underdog most weeks because he's taken over a rebuild program, but regardless, has, I believe, 4. And you can't get by if you're Jim Harbaugh, especially if you walk in undefeated. Even if they have 1 loss, you can't lose your first game in East Lansing. You definitely can't lose your second. Let's say they drop a game to Wisconsin. This is probably the biggest must-win game of the year for Jim Harbaugh. I don't see how you can even justify him staying as head coach if he's consistently losing to the teams you can't afford to lose to. Doesn't make sense to me. So yeah, I'm still on board with, I think it's a fireable offense if Jim Harbaugh loses to Mel Tucker and Michigan State. But props to Michigan State, man. They look really good. Run game looks good. The secondary,
questionable at times.
questionable. The pass rush, meh. But, they did get to De'Aaron King a few times. They forced 2 turnovers. I mean, State did enough. And do I think they're national contenders? No. Do I think Michigan's a national contender? No, probably not. But This is like a very positive sign. If you're the Big Ten, you have all your teams essentially doing well, and then you have Ohio State sitting at 2-1. Like, they'll figure it out.
Right.
So I'm happy for State. Kennedy, your thoughts on the win for Michigan State?
Oh, I was amped up. I was like, I called this, and it's happening. At first, it stayed close for a long time, but then when State finally pulled away, I was like, all right, we're good. And I also had the Notre Dame game on, so I was dual watching there for a while. So it was fun. Lots of good college football over the weekend. That being said, we're going to talk about Michigan and their game when we come back. But before we go, we need to hear about our friends over at Northwestern Tech.
Well, listen, you can start a new career in an industry that is always essential. It's the heating and cooling industry. Learn more today by visiting northwesterntech.edu.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust-resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
Welcome back, everybody. You're tuning into the Morning Wood on the Woodward Sports Network. Happy to have you here. It's Monday. We've got football tonight. Make sure you come join us at O'Toole's. Got to keep plugging that because I want you guys to come. I want to see you guys there. All right, Michigan. All right, first of all, let's just say we knew this one was going to be a beatdown, so this was not a shock to anyone. But Michigan annihilated Northern Illinois 63-10. Wow. Ouch. But this is, like I said, sort of exactly what we were expecting here, so it's not necessarily impressive. But that being said, what did you take away from this game, Jeff?
Well, it is what we expected. Listen, Michigan cruising to wins against unranked opponents with a fantastic run game, just absolutely running the ball down their throat. Not surprised by that. 63-10. You heard the Braylon Edwards prediction on his social media. I think he predicted 60-something to 14, so he was pretty close. I mean, but the positive thing I can take from this is Blake Corum, Hassan Haskins, and Donovan Edwards, because that can be a legit three-headed monster in that backfield. And I think Cade McNamara is licking his lips because it makes his job a whole lot easier. I mean, all of them looked unbelievable. But again, they're running against unranked Northern Illinois. I want to see this team at Wisconsin. I think that's a great matchup for them. But just to go on to the wide receiver core, I mean, Cornelius Johnson, three catches for 117 yards, 1 touchdown. That guy is someone you should look for. Now that Ronnie Bell's out, more options in that pass game. I think Cornelius Johnson, he played absolutely terrific. But if you're getting, 7 touchdowns from your running backs, 13 for 125 for Blake Corum, he's getting 10 yards a pop. Donovan Edwards, 8 for 86, about 10 yards a pop. Hassan, 9 for 50. I mean, these guys were eating up yards every time they got the ball. But we'll wait and just wait on this. We'll wait till they go to Wisconsin to really evaluate this team. But obviously against Northern Illinois, they looked very solid. I liked how J.J. McCarthy got an opportunity at the end of the game to kind of just get some reps. But it's hard to measure him really against the Rocky Lombardi, someone that I knew would struggle against this team. I mean, the team is just not that talented. But you heard the quote from Thomas Hammock, the coach of Northern Illinois University. He said, I think they built their team for Ohio State. And you're not wrong, because if they're blowing you out by 53 points, get the hint. They're trying to beat the big brother this year with C.J. Stroud. But we just need better teams to really measure this football team. That's what I've taken away from it. I'm not going to take too much away from a 63-10 Northern Illinois win. What about you, Adam?
I disagree. Northern Illinois beat, Georgia Tech? 23-22, and Georgia Tech barely lost to Clemson.
This team, it doesn't matter.
Look.
It does not matter.
It does. It does when you're doing what Michigan's doing. First of all, over the course of the season,
winning the Big Ten.
Michigan, hear me out. Give me a second. I'll let you talk.
I'll let you set your argument up.
Michigan has accounted for 71% of their first downs on the ground. That's Michigan football.
Against
Michigan ran over all over Northern Illinois, and they ran over all the 3 teams they played.
Right.
They're averaging 350 yards on the ground per game.
Offensive
How difficult that is? The clock is always rolling when you're running the ball as much as Michigan does. Michigan are probably the best version I've seen of Michigan since maybe year 3, year 4 under Harbaugh. They have an edge rush. They're back to their roots in running the football the way they actually should. They have 3 running backs that can all step in and basically gash you at any moment. Cade McNamara has shown he can hit the deep ball when it's available, when he's asked to. He's made the throws. So if you're a Michigan fan, you're walking away feeling good. It's Rutgers next week in Ann Arbor. Your first 4 games are all at home. Are you going to overreact to them starting 4? No, probably not. It's the 5th game that really matters. They need to dominate Rutgers, and then they play Wisconsin, and then we can have a conversation about Michigan. Are they legit? But so far, so good. It's been great. When you are averaging 350 yards from the line of scrimmage, just running the football, forget throwing. When you can just impose your will on opposing defenses the way Michigan has, it's a confidence booster. It's a confidence booster for your quarterback, your offensive line, your running backs, your defense. They're off the field. They're not getting gashed out there. You're not committing turnovers. They go off the field for a minute, then they're back out there again because you decided to do a quick 3 and out, or like Michigan scored on their first 9 possessions. It's impressive. It's impressive. You can overlook it. You can say that you can discount their play throughout the first 12 quarters of the season, but look, you can only play who's in front of you. And if Michigan State can go out and beat a Miami team that's looked nothing but overrated to start the season, then I got to sit here and give Michigan the same amount of credit. Granted, all 3 home games, different context. But Michigan came into the season unranked just like Michigan State. Everybody was expecting Michigan to have a down season, to lose early, and to just unfold and Jim Harbaugh get fired. Like, this is Michigan football. This is how they're going to win football games. This is how you win football games.
Did you just say these 3 games are Michigan football?
Yes, running the ball, averaging 350 yards.
Yes.
That's Michigan football.
Dominating a Western Michigan, Washington, and Northern Illinois. That's Michigan football.
Excuse me. Okay. Western Michigan. Let's start week 1. Western Michigan.
Gas them up for me.
Why does everybody get to play weaker teams? But when Michigan does, it's not okay. It's not okay.
I'm not. Listen, we're not comparing. I'm just saying. Are you taking a lot
don't
from these 3 games?
Don't discredit 300.
Notre Dame did it. We got crapped on too, so don't.
Don't discredit 350 yards a game running the football. That should
say
freaking
more
impressive.
about who you're going against. Can we see a decent defensive line? Can we see someone give this offensive? They've been dominant. This offensive line has been dominant. No one's given them problems. Can we agree there?
The defensive line has been dominant.
No, I'm saying offensive line for Michigan.
Of course they've been
so
dominant.
So who are they going against?
That's not the point. That's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about Michigan's win against Northern Illinois. It was impressive for the first 3 games of the year. They've been able to run the ball for over 350 yards a game.
And my point is that's impressive, but what are we taking from...
You're taking away from it that they look really good right now. Their offensive line looks legit.
They look good.
The defensive front looks actually legit. They're finally getting pressure on the quarterback.
Looks legit. Against who?
Oh my goodness! Nobody's saying they're national contenders right now. Chill out. They play Wisconsin in 2 weeks. We'll figure out what Michigan are in 2 weeks.
There you go.
But right now they're a pretty good football team that can run the ball extremely effective, and that is very difficult to play against because your offense isn't on the field as much. You don't have as much time on the clock to work and run your offense. Michigan are going to be a pain in the butt to play, just like State are. I mean, no one's sitting up here saying Michigan are the favorites to win the Big Ten.
I never said that, but you're
sitting
up here trying to give
like it, though. You're acting like it's a statement win. It's a statement 3 games.
Win.
They could have easily came out the first 3 games, won all 3, and looked pedestrian, just like Ohio State has, but they've only won 2. They've come out and dominated every single team that as you would say, they're supposed to be. They went out and dominated every single one of them.
Right.
So I'm not supposed to give them credit? Oh, they're supposed to. They're supposed to. Please, no.
You
sorry.
could say they look
That's
good.
Totally wrong.
They look
Kennedy, your thoughts on Michigan so far to start the year?
Besties, I didn't watch this game. 1,
of course.
I knew it was going to be a beatdown. 2, I absolutely despise the University of Michigan. So I can't really comment on this.
It wasn't supposed to be a beatdown.
You don't think?
No, I'm joking.
No, I was like...
It's a good game for Michigan. That's what it was.
Michigan have put together 3 really good games. I mean, how anybody can sit up here and not be impressed with how they've played? Like, this is Jim Harbaugh football that you saw the first 3-4 years when everything was looking promising at the program. You're seeing it play out. They're missing Ronnie Bell. That's going to kill them when they play against a Penn State, a Wisconsin, and Ohio State. Not being able to move the ball downfield. Like, that's going to hurt them, yes. But when you're able to run the ball like Michigan has, it's a problem. Teams have to account for it. They have to stack the box, which means you're going to get one-on-one matchups on the sidelines for Caden McNamara. And if he makes the throws, well then There you go. You have a football team that can probably win a ton of games this year, probably 8, 9, 10 games.
And that's true. We can agree on that. They're going to win games. I'm not saying they're not going to win games. I'm just saying, can we just take a chill pill? I want to see them against Wisconsin. I think that's going to be a great game.
And again, I think it's easy for me to say, well, I want to see Michigan State against Michigan now. Like,
yeah,
they've
I'm
got
excited.
3 more games before Michigan. Michigan's got, what, 3 more games before Michigan State. They play, I believe Michigan plays Wisconsin, Nebraska. No, Rutgers, Wisconsin, then Nebraska.
Yes.
State plays Western Kentucky, some garbage team, and then Rutgers. Or no, Rutgers, then Indiana. Mm-hmm. Like, they can walk in, like, again, I'm not saying they're national beaters or that Michigan State or Michigan are going to win the Big Ten this year, but no, man, when you run the way Michigan has and you can control the line of scrimmage, go ask Green Bay what happens when you're not able to control the line of scrimmage against a New Orleans team that lost to Carolina over the weekend. You get dominated. You lose. It's taking the will out of your opposing. Like, I love this. I love everything about it. I'm happy for Michigan. I want to know why other teams aren't running for 350 yards against the weaker, shitty FCS teams that they play every day. It's always early on in the season where we play the bad teams.
Right.
No one's overreacting. I just don't get it. Like, how can we praise other teams for beating down the teams they're supposed to beat, but when Michigan wins by 53, they win by 40, and then they win by, 27, 28? It's like, it's okay. Like, whatever. Come on. What are we doing?
Well, I just want to know, since the AP Week 4 Top 25 came out, State's sitting at 20, Michigan's sitting at 19. Do you think that Michigan deserves to be above State at this point in time?
No, I mean they're both playing great football, and Michigan looks great. I mean they blew all 3 of their opponents out. Michigan State, they had 17-14 until the fourth quarter, and they absolutely ran it up on Miami. I'm not saying let's not get it twisted. I'm not saying Michigan is not a good football team. They're going to win 9-10 games. They're going to be great. I think Cade McNamara is playing great. With that run game, Peyton Thorne and Cade McNamara are both benefiting from it. But all I'm saying is I just can't wait till they go to Wisconsin. I'm not hating. that's going to be a good game to really test it. Same with Michigan State. Going to Michigan or going to Michigan State. Both sides, man. Let's just wait. But impressed nonetheless.
I think Michigan should be over Michigan State in the polls.
Yeah.
Miami has lost to Alabama. They lost by 30. Okay, that's kind of acceptable. They looked average in their second game, and they were embarrassed by Michigan State in the third game at home. Miami isn't what you think they are, and I think we can all take that away from the first 3 games of the year. So it's an impressive win for Michigan State, of course. They should be in the AP Top 25, and I'm glad they're there now. Do they deserve to be over Michigan? Does it really matter at this point? It doesn't really matter.
No.
It really doesn't, because you don't know everything about this team. Right now, what you know about Michigan State is they're much better than last year. Peyton Thorne has yet to commit any atrocity or mistakes that will just cost Michigan State a football game. So you're confident there. The run game looks good. This defense is better than it was last year. So I can check all those boxes for State. And for Michigan, the defense looks much, much better now that Don Brown isn't there. Mac McDonald doing a very good job so far. The run game, the best in the nation. And the offensive line play, you probably have to put it top 5, top 10 in the nation. So it's really impressive from both teams. I'm happy for both teams. They're 19 and 20 in the polls. That's all you can do. Who cares?
Right.
Who cares? We'll see week 7 where the teams are, but that's about it.
Lots of people in the chat upset about my Michigan comment, saying that I need to go hang out in Ann Arbor.
Yeah, you can't talk about Michigan. You're Notre Dame and Ohio State
Ann Arbor,
fan.
and I love Ann Arbor. I do love Ann Arbor. It's some of my favorite shopping, some of my favorite brunch spots. So I won't hate too hard. I had lots of friends that went to Michigan. I've been to game days. It is very fun. Turned up at Sigma Chi a few times there. It was gross, but in the best way. You know what I mean? So
speaking of Wisconsin. Notre Dame traveled to Wisconsin. This upcoming week. So it's a big game for both teams. Notre Dame wins that game. They need Wisconsin basically to beat Michigan and Michigan State because it'll look better on Notre Dame's resume. But regardless, get us out of here, Kennedy.
Nervous. All right, well, coming up, we've got one of my favorite segments, Overreaction Monday. We've got that for you guys next. But before we go, we need to hear about our friends over at MyBookie.
Guys, it's Monday Night Football. The Lions are playing. MyBookie, you know what that means. I'm betting. You better be betting. Bet from anywhere, anytime. Visit mybookie.com. Use code Woodward to sign up. They'll match your deposit up to 50%. You put in $100. They'll give you $50. You put in $200, they'll give you $100. My suggestion: there's a lot of bets to be had tonight. Whether it's the spread, the over, the under, whether you want to take a money line option on the lines, maybe being an underdog tonight, player props, it's all there. It's all available. It's football season. There's no better place to bet other than my bookie. We'll see you after the break.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. And at Hall Financial, we treat our clients like family. And our number one priority is giving each of our clients 5-star service. Our passion for 5-star service, combined with our expertise, allows us to find the best possible solution for refinancing your home loan. We take the time to focus on both the individual and the numbers. We're going to walk you through the process and close your loan in half the time of our competition. Go to davidhallmortgage.com today.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Morning Wood Show on the Woodward Sports Network. Happy to have you here on a Monday. We've got football tonight. We'll talk about that soon. But first, we have to overreact to what happened over the weekend. So, boys, do you want to go back and forth? Is that what we're doing? All right. So, Adam, let's start with you.
All right. My first overreaction for our Overreaction Monday is going to be a two-loss SEC team will make the college football playoff over a one-loss ACC or Big 12 champion. Book it. The ACC and Big 12 are not going to be represented in the college football playoff this year. You can almost book it. That's my Overreaction Monday.
Mine, I'm going to the NFL. I'm going Zach Wilson will lead all rookies in interceptions.
That's not overreaction. That's just that's a consequence of him playing for the Jets.
But listen, Trevor Lawrence has been throwing picks too. All these rookie quarterbacks have been turning the ball over. I just think Zach Wilson in the situation he's in, and just the building he's in. The New York Jets as an organization are so new entirely. I mean, Mike LaFleur, new offensive coordinator. He got barely anything around him. Elijah Moore, Corey Davis. Wow, they looked like a shell of themselves. It is the Patriots, but let's go into week 3. They're going against the Denver Broncos, who has just as scary as a secondary. I mean, you saw Patrick Surtain last week. I think he's going to keep struggling. And then I tweeted this weekend, I said I thought Sam Darnold was the problem. I thought he was the problem.
Wrong!
No matter who you get in there, they're going to struggle. It's just the facts. So I got Zach Wilson. I think he'll lead all rookies in interceptions, and maybe he bounces back his second year.
I'm so happy for Sam Darnold. My second overreaction, Kennedy. Matthew Stafford and the LA Rams are the only viable contenders in the NFC to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Nobody else even has a remote shot at beating Tampa Bay outside of Los Angeles. I don't think the Niners can beat Tampa Bay. I don't think the Packers, we'll see what happens tonight, but I'm not sold on the Packers. They're not going to beat Tampa Bay this year. New Orleans, we saw what happened. Carolina, are they contenders, pretenders? We don't know. I don't know of any NFC team outside of the Los Angeles Rams that can really go toe-to-toe with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I think the Rams and Stafford are the NFC's only hope of dethroning the defending champions, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Wow. That's actually, I kind of like that one. I had to think about that one. So you still have Tampa. Who's your Super Bowl? He's got LA versus who?
I've got LA versus Buffalo. Buffalo winning.
Oh. See, I liked yours. It was different. I had to go with the same one, Kansas City and Tampa Bay. But after last night, might need to change my my opinion on there. But my other prediction is it's not a big prediction. It's just an overreaction. I think this is the year the Las Vegas Raiders make the playoffs. I really do. I think they sneak in there. Derek Carr has looked great, and that defense. They've done a lot of work on that defense. They've changed. They got multiple guys. KJ Wright, Jonathan Abrams back healthy. They got Casey Hayward back in there. And they got, everyone knows, Max Crosby, the defensive end, who's been absolutely tearing up offensive lines. I kind of like the Las Vegas Raiders. I think if Josh Jacobs can get healthy, Derek Carr has been playing out of his mind. And I think they're 2-0 right now. If they can finish the year with, 9 wins, maybe they sneak in. But I like the Las Vegas Raiders. And even though they're going to get bounced immediately, I just like seeing new teams make changes because it gives me hope for the Detroit Lions. So maybe the Raiders see some success this year.
Whatever helps you sleep at night. Well, since you're talking about the Raiders, I'm going to move mine up. My third overreaction is Derek Carr is an early dark horse for MVP. He's in the MVP conversation. I don't care what you tell me. He's got almost 800 yards passing through the air. 7, 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions or 1 interception. Mm-hmm. The guy's been playing out of his mind. Put some respect on Derek Carr's name, please. I said this 2 weeks ago The guy is one of the most underappreciated, undervalued quarterbacks in the NFL. He's better than Baker. He's better than Tua. He's better than Kirk Cousins. He's better than Ryan Tannehill. He's better than Jared Goff. And everybody said, Adam, you're crazy. No, I'm not. The guy was having an MVP season before he got hurt. He's just now recovered. 2-0. Are we serious? Like, I am so happy for this guy. It's so hard not to root for Derek Carr. If you don't, he's not elite, but you got to put him in the middle of the pack. He deserves to be in the conversation from 10 to 14th on like top quarterbacks in the NFL. Like, we can argue anywhere from 10 to 14, but he's in that above average echelon of quarterbacks. I'm sorry. Like, I'm tired of hearing the Derek Carr hate. Jeff?
My overreaction Monday is Tua Tagovailoa will be dealt at some point, maybe either next season. I mean, Tua Tagovailoa, as much as I love the guy, he just hasn't shown anything when he's healthy. I mean, he was unhealthy coming into the Dolphins, had the hip problem, started midway through the season for Ryan Fitzpatrick, had a decent, okay rookie year. I think he had 11 touchdowns, 5 picks. Limited pass attempts, but now coming into his second year, he's already injured again. And you've seen the Miami Dolphins in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. I think they're going to be actively looking for a quarterback. I think Tua Tagovailoa, as good as he is, how long are you going to give him how much time are you going to give this man? In a division where Mac Jones could be the best quarterback, Zach Wilson in a couple of years could be a better quarterback, and Josh Allen, who's no doubt the best quarterback in that division. So I think the Dolphins will be in the quarterback hunt in about a year or two. That's my overreaction.
The Miami Dolphins should stay the heck away from Deshaun Watson. And I should say vice versa as well. Deshaun Watson, stay away from Miami. You've already got enough like personal problems. To put yourself in that scene down in Miami, it's not going to do you any justice. I got a perfect spot for Deshaun Watson. The Indianapolis Colts, Overreaction Monday, should move on from Carson Wentz. I have zero patience for this kid anymore. I defended him as long as I could. But this is ridiculous. To stand there on the sideline while Jacob Eason takes over with an opportunity to go down and tie the football game? Why? Because you were twisted up a little bit? You looked fine on the sideline. If you were so hurt, why weren't you in the locker room? Someone explain to me. He really pissed me off this weekend. And if I'm Indianapolis, I'm making a move for Deshaun Watson, or I'm calling Andrew Luck and I'm telling him, hey, you give me I'm going to give you an open check. Come back. We have a Super Bowl contending roster, and we're throwing it away because we can't get the quarterback right. I'm off the Carson Wentz boat. I'm done. Jeff, do you have any more?
Nope, that's it.
All right, I got... How many more do I have? I have one more. One more overreaction, sorry. All right. The Arizona Cardinals are pretenders, not contenders. That is my overreaction Monday. We saw this last year. I believe they beat Miami on a last-second Hail Mary. DeAndre Hopkins... Oh, no, it was the Bills they beat on a last-second Hail Mary. They were, 5-1 or 4-0 at the time. Rinse and repeat. The Vikings missed a 37-yard chip shot. Are you kidding me? Until the Cardinals really prove me wrong, they're on my hit list of like they're just a good team that can win football games, but they're not contenders. I'm not interested in talking about the Arizona Cardinals. Keep them away from me. Keep them away from my day. I want nothing to do with them. Kyler Murray's spectacular. The defense, not so spectacular. They shut down the Tennessee Titans, who put up 33 against the Seattle Seahawks, and they couldn't stop Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings. Are we serious? For me, Arizona, complete pretenders. They're not contenders at all. They're an 8-9-1 football team given their talent, but their defense, to play that inconsistent it's not even that they're inconsistent. It's when you play to this level and then the next week you're completely down here, I can't take you seriously. Now, if they played this good and then they played this good and then they went back up and then back down, okay, like, it's the NFL. It's tough. But to go from 0 to 360 and back to 0, that's ridiculous. I'm off board with the Arizona Cardinals. Not interested. They've got a dynamic offense. Kyler Murray's spectacular, fun to watch. I can't take them seriously. So, Kennedy, do you have any overreactions for this Monday?
I did. I always come strapped with one. So, my overreaction might not be that much of an overreaction. I don't know if you guys watched the Florida-Bama game, but whoever was running the clock better have been fired. It completely screwed up the last, 3-4 minutes of the game. Did you not watch it, Adam? You're looking at me
Repeat
like
again.
I'm nuts.
Yeah, I'm a little confused.
The clock person just messed up the entire game, and they were down by 2 points. I want to say Florida was down 2 points.
Well, this
Bama had
happens.
the ball.
It's called point shaving. You're just trying to get the under. They let the clock roll when you're trying to get the under.
No, they kept messing up the time. They would put it up and then be like, "Oh, that was wrong," and then they'd have to go back. It was the most confusing.
I did see Penn State punt on third down.
Yeah, they had a lot of mistakes in college football this weekend.
Yeah, Penn State
Not a
punting
good week for college football.
Penn State punting on third down. I was like, what? And you see James Franklin it's third down. That was the biggest WTF for the
And
weekend.
they
So
looked
many
at it too, and they said it was fourth down. What are you going to do?
I don't get it, Fish.
In that same game, the Bama-Florida game.
Which was a good game, by the way, if any of you watched.
It was a
Great
good game.
entertainment.
I was glad Fishy was watching it with me. But Florida's down by 2 points. They score to score a touchdown, they're down by 2 points. They're going for the 2-point conversion. They go to run the ball in, and the quarterback and the running back are attached. One of them won't let go of the ball. I don't know who, what the miscommunication was.
I mean,
but
that
they
just sums
were
up Florida's
running it
history.
in together. Someone didn't let go of the ball, so I don't know what the play was. But also, whoever messed that up needs to be fired as well, because that was the most embarrassing attempt at a 2-point conversion that I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, it looked like he was trying to, they were trying to have everyone bite on the running back, but he never grabbed the ball or just give the.
It was so
it
bad.
was weird. It was weird, but.
But yeah, those are my overreactions. Someone needs to be fired from Florida and from whoever was running the clock.
I don't know. That happens so often. You always see a few seconds run off the clock extra because some guy's asleep up there in the booth. I mean, it happens. It happens. Jeff, before we get out of here, you mentioned Derek Carr earlier. Where's Derek Carr for you right now? If you were to give, let's say, in a pyramid of quarterbacks, you have your super elites, your elites, and then you're above average, you're good to very good quarterbacks, and then average and everything below. Where is he on that pyramid? Is he middle tier? Is he just above the middle tier, close to elite?
I think middle tier would be your Baker Mayfield. I think he's a little above middle tier. I think he's a guy that if you put on a team that is built around him, similarly to Baker Mayfield, they had the run game, they got receivers, they have a defense. If Derek Carr has that acquainted to him, I think he wins football games. I mean, you've seen it in Las Vegas, previously Oakland. They just never really had a formidable squad around Derek Carr. The guy puts up numbers. He doesn't really turn the ball over. He can make every throw downfield. You saw it versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, man. He had some shots downfield to Ruggs that looked good. And he's one of those guys, he I wouldn't say top tier, whatever you want to say your top tier is, wherever. We can talk about that at a later time. But yeah, he's above middle tier, definitely.
He's above. I think he's better than all the middle tier quarterbacks. Your Jared Goffs, your Tua, your Bakers, your Ryan Tannehills, your Kirk Cousins. I mean, you honestly have to put Matt Ryan in that conversation. I think he's better than Matt Ryan right now. So I'm really huge on Derek Carr. I'm so happy for the kid. I mean, to deal with what he's had to deal with, he's essentially had a very similar career to Carson Wentz, outside of his backup winning a Super Bowl.
Right.
They came on, they were having MVP-type seasons, they get hurt, they never really recover, and here we are, Derek Carr so far. He's playing the part, and it's not with an abundance of weapons. Josh Jacobs was out. They were playing on a short week. Darren Waller is typically getting doubled every single play. And he's still putting up those numbers against the Pittsburgh front seven. That is probably the best front seven in the NFL. It's a huge win. It's a huge win.
Back-to-back good defenses, too.
Happy for Derek Carr. Happy for John Gruden. It's about time. It's about time they won a game like that. Good for them. Kennedy?
All right. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk about the Sunday night football game from last night. It was a nail-biter. But before we go, we've got to hear about our friends over at Coast.
Well, since 1919, Coast has pursued one mission, and it's to make the working professional's job safer and life easier. Today, Coast Lights are a favorite amongst tradesmen and women, outdoor enthusiasts, do-it-yourselfers, first responders, and more. Visit coastportland.com and use code WSN20 for 20% off your purchase, because they stand by their products, back them up with a lifetime warranty. Because if you're buying for your whole crew, you sign up with our Coast crew to take advantage of special discounts, early access to new products, and more. That 20% off code is WSN20.
Welcome to the Call Sam Chopper Shop, where you can win a custom-built chopper while helping our veterans at the same time.
Watch as the Bad Pig Custom team turns this bike into a one-of-a-kind classic chopper.
And when it's finished, we'll be donating the bike to Volunteers of America Michigan to raffle off in support of our vets.
A great cause to give back to those who've given so much.
Watch for Call Sam Chopper Shop episodes on our social media channels and get your raffle ticket today at callsam.com/Chopper Shop.
Opa! Introducing Papa Romano's new Greek pizza, a tasty blend of bold Greek flavors and Mediterranean toppings, including feta cheese and Greek dressing. Get a large Greek pizza for a limited time for $16.99. Order now at paparomanos.com.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Welcome back, everybody. You're tuning into the Morning Wood on the Woodward Sports Network. Happy to have you here. It's Monday. We've got football tonight, but first, we've got to talk about our football from last night. Thank you, Fish. The Ravens beat the Chiefs. Was not expecting that, but they only beat them by 1 point. It was 36-35 game. So, Jeff, let me know what you took away from last night's game.
Well, I took away number one, Lamar Jackson. He missed some passes downfield, but my God, he put the team on his back late in the game with his legs, with his arm. Wow. But I think it was more so about the Chiefs beating themselves. I think the Ravens, they stayed in it the entirety of the game. And then you saw the Clyde Edwards-Helaire fumble at the very end. It kind of put a shot in their heart. But, I mean, that's what you want, man. That's a good Sunday night game. And it's between two quarterbacks, two MVP winners, two guys that one of them is predicted to be the next GOAT. But Lamar on his own is just a very entertaining guy. He's a spectacular athlete and quarterback, and he's amazing to watch. And you saw it last night, his ability to – the Ravens tend to play up to their competition. I mean, you see last week – they went to overtime with the Raiders. Come out this week against the former Super Bowl champs, the Chiefs, and they go neck and neck with them, win by 1 point. So it was a great game. I mean, you got a little of everything: the action, the Hollywood Brown making catches. You saw Patrick Mahomes making plays, but at the end of the day, I think the Chiefs aren't out of it. They're still. I have them to go to the Super Bowl, and I think they're still on track to have success. You saw the Bills last week. These teams are going to take a loss like this. They're going to learn a lot. I'm hoping that Kansas City defense and that secondary fixes some of their issues. Chris Jones was having a rough day yesterday. Frank Clark had a rough day, but other than that, it's a good win by the Ravens. They were at home. But at the end of the day, they're 1-1, and I think they're still going to struggle. I mean, you got the Steelers who just lost 2; they're hungry. You got the Browns who just won, all 1-1. All those teams. I think it's going to be a very, very tough race to get to the playoffs, and the Ravens just got to stay healthy because right now they're without a lot of guys, and they got a deep backfield. You saw how many different guys they ran the ball with, and that's just what they got to stay doing. Just run the ball and don't allow Lamar to win you the game with his arm because I think he's only averaging, especially last year, 180 yards passing. Like, this is not who Lamar is. He's a guy who's going to win the game with his legs, and especially he's got running backs in the backfield that we can use. But it's what else can you say about Lamar? He's a guy that is entertaining to watch, someone that I've sat up here and said that I just don't believe he'll win a Super Bowl in his career unless his team is unbelievably stacked. I just think he's limited as a quarterback. I think you saw it earlier in the game. He missed. They could have went up 7-0 quickly. I mean, they had a Hollywood Brown shot down the field. He was overthrown by about 5 yards. It was an uncatchable ball, and that's the things that make me question if Lamar can win a Super Bowl, because you've seen it in previous Super Bowls, like Jimmy G, for example. He missed Emmanuel Sanders on that deep route. Like, those things matter in the Super Bowl. So as much as I love watching Lamar, and I give credit to how he played last night, I still think it's a tall task to say that Lamar will have a Super Bowl in the future. And it is what it is. You take it with a grain of salt, but it was an entertaining Sunday Night Football game. We can at least mutually agree on that. Adam.
Yeah, no, it was really entertaining. I'm not going to sit up here and deny that. The Ravens won, but really, look, let's start with Edwards-Helaire fumbling at the end. Like, the game was over. The Chiefs did what they were supposed to do. They went down the field. They set themselves up in a position to kick and win the game, and they fumbled it away. Lamar Jackson opens up the game, misses a deep route on Marquise Brown, follows that up with an awful pick six. And then he comes back and misses Sammy Watkins on the sideline, and then he throws another interception.
Yeah.
This is Lamar Jackson. In 39 games as a quarterback, he's 31-8. Not impressive. 31-8 as a starting quarterback in the NFL. In those 39 games, he's only thrown for over 250 yards 4 times. Keep in mind his MVP season, his first 3 games of the year accounted for 3 of the 4 250-yard passing games. This is what Lamar Jackson is. He's dynamic, spectacular, flashy. It's not even a debate anymore. Vic isn't even on his level in terms of how dynamic. Lamar was able to stay healthy. I guess that's the key difference. But still, Lamar Jackson, the most dynamic dual-threat quarterback in the history of the NFL. Good. We're done with that. He's not an elite quarterback. He isn't. He is an elite athlete. He is an elite running back. He's an elite runner with the ball. But he's no elite quarterback. I love his game. I love watching him so much, and I hate it just as much. He can't make all the necessary throws. It's that simple. I've been trying to give the guy so much time to just develop his game, and he, time after time, he makes the same mistakes. He did make an amazing throw. What was it? That jump throw to Marquise Brown late in the game. That was impressive. Cool.
On the fly.
But like the Ravens are just really good at doing what they do. It's a team built around Lamar. They know how to run the ball. Tyson Williams looked good. Latavius Murray looked good. They were averaging almost 10 yards a carry early on, almost through 2 quarters. So that's how you win if you're Baltimore. Do I think you can win a Super Bowl doing that? No, I'm on the same boat as you are. I don't think you can ever win playing that way. Ask Tennessee. Go ask all the teams that, we have a run game that you just can't stop. All right, well, in December it gets kind of difficult. Teams are planning for it. You can't throw the ball downfield and hold teams accountable as much in December and January that you can do in September and October. And if anything I took away from last night, it was the Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are still the best team in the AFC. But I've never been more confident in my picks preseason. I'll predict how the playoffs are going to work this year. The Chiefs will host, I think, a divisional home game with a bye week. The Baltimore Ravens. I think they'll beat them pretty handily. And then they'll lose in the AFC Championship game to who? The Buffalo Bills. That's how the playoffs are going to work out. I still think Kansas City's the best team. They're the most dynamic team. Lamar's not putting up 36 points in the playoffs. He just isn't. Teams aren't going to allow that to happen. It's a regular season game. You're not giving away everything. The Chiefs did everything they needed to do to win the game outside of hold on to the ball. So as much as I love Lamar and his game, it just doesn't translate to wins. And it doesn't translate not just to wins, significant wins.
Well, yeah, I'll say wins.
Because he is 31-8 as a starting quarterback. It's impressive. It really is. It's one of the most difficult conversations I have with myself in my head every day about Lamar Jackson because there's so many qualities about him. Decision-making, up in the air. Accuracy, up in the air. Even his arm strength. He's got the arm strength, but there's no, control on it. So that comes with a grain of salt. So... oh man, I haven't been more frustrated with a quarterback in my time. With Lamar Jackson. Go ahead.
Let me just add some context too. I mean, Jalen Hurts, a guy that Adam has said, and I don't see eye to eye with him, but I could see where he got this. Is Jalen Hurts won't be in the league in a couple of years, but we can at least get this right. He's got more 300 passing yard games than Lamar. I mean, and you see Jalen Hurts doing a lot of the things Lamar's doing in Philly with his legs. So you got to be able to throw the ball. And you saw the Ravens last year. They're the only team, or one of the only teams since 2000 to have more rushing yards than passing yards back-to-back years. I mean, this is something that if you want to keep up, it's hard to win a Super Bowl like that. And I know our guy Easy just said Trent Dilfer in the chat, but that's a very, very different example. I mean, if you want Lamar to, if Lamar's team was completely stacked around him,
it's been stacked.
I'm saying,
my goodness.
I'm saying a Trent Dilfer, like the Ravens back then, that defense back then, your defense could basically win games for you. Maybe you can win a Super Bowl.
NFL's different now.
I'm just saying, you think Lamar can or go out there and win a Super Bowl, even if his team's stacked? I don't think so. You see it right now. He has a ton of wins in the regular season, but if you look at his losses,
who
are
else
they against?
has a ton of wins early on? Tua Tagovailoa has a ton of wins. Baker Mayfield has a ton of wins. You're not winning Super Bowls with these guys. They're limited. The problem with Lamar Jackson isn't that he's a mobile quarterback. It's not. Josh Allen is mobile. Patrick Mahomes is mobile. The difference is what Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and Justin Herbert and these elite quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers to an extent, Tom Brady, what makes them different and what makes them elite is that they can do it with their arm.
Mm-hmm.
And what makes Mahomes so dynamic and so difficult to play against is that he'll beat you with your arm the whole game. He'll beat you with his arm the whole game. And he can scramble out for get 12 yards anytime he wants to. You can't keep him in the pocket. Lamar Jackson doesn't have that. He's just, give me the ball, RPO, I'm running, or I'm giving it to the running back, or I'm going to hit somebody on a quick slant. You're not going to win a Super Bowl doing that. You're just not. So many things have to align, and I'll give credit to Lamar Jackson. Good win yesterday. Cool. But, no. Yeah, easy. Did I compare Tua and Baker to a league MVP? Yeah. Yeah, I don't think any of the three can win a Super Bowl. I don't think I can build my team around any of the three. Lamar Jackson is a league MVP. He's spectacular, actually. He's beyond phenomenal, beyond dynamic. I can't even describe how dynamic Lamar Jackson is. But you can't win in the postseason with Lamar Jackson. It doesn't work. And until he breaks the mold, it doesn't work in the NFL. So somebody please give me something to work off of, because I have nothing to work off of. They should have lost the game. Edwards-Helaire fumbled it away.
Almost
they
went down
finally
2-0.
got the monkey off their back by beating Kansas City for the first time in 4 tries. Congratulations. It's a huge win. Huge win. What are we doing?
Especially if Lamar wants to win a Super Bowl, he just has to. I mean, he just beat the Chiefs for the first time in a very long time. So let's just start there. Let's just start beating the Chiefs, and we'll grade Lamar as his young career progresses.
The
but
problem
right now,
with Lamar is that when his legs go away, what does he have? And I'm not saying completely go away. I'm saying maybe 5-10% he loses that extra step. What happens then? Are you still going to line him up at 30 years old and have him run out of the I formation or out of the shotgun formation on RPO? No, you're not.
Right.
Why Patrick Mahomes and all these other quarterbacks are so great is that they translate with their arm, not just their legs. In today's NFL, Kyler Murray, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, they're mobile. Even Justin Herbert and Burrow, to an extent, they're kind of mobile, but maybe not as dynamic, but still. They can escape the pocket and make plays. What does Lamar Jackson give me? He's a running back. He's not a quarterback. And stop trying to convince me he is. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Here we go. Now we're going to slander Brady's rings. I know. All stars aligning. I know, man. I know. I love this. I love this. The stars aligned that he went into Tampa Bay, who were what, 9-7 or 7-9? And changed their fortunes into a Super Bowl contender. What are we doing? I don't understand it. Just show me like the proof of concept that Lamar Jackson works in the NFL, and I'll say, okay, I get it. I get it. And Spiro nailed it. Russell Westbrook is Lamar Jackson. Hell yeah. Incredible talent. Incredibly talented. Gifted. But you're not going to win a title with them. You just aren't. They're not going to be able to carry your team. Lamar Jackson can win you football games. I'm not saying he can't. He can be an effective quarterback in the NFL. But it's not going to last for 12, 14 years. What happens when he does lose that little step that he has on all the other quarterbacks in the NFL? What happens? What happens when you can't run him 10, 12, 13 times a game? He's got to throw the ball. You know what his record is when he throws the ball more than 25 times is? It's awful. He hasn't won a game. Good luck having Lamar Jackson be your franchise quarterback for the next 10 years. It's not going to end well. And I hope it does. I hope it does. Believe me. I would love to see history made and Lamar Jackson breaks the mold. But Michael Vick was almost a league MVP. If we're judging people based on MVPs, what are we doing here? I don't judge my quarterbacks on regular season accomplishments. I don't. I expect consistency, availability, good play, limited turnovers. And when I get to the playoffs, you're able to get me out of situations that maybe maybe other quarterbacks can. That's a franchise quarterback.
And I want to get this straight. This isn't hating. This is just stating the pretty much the obvious. Like, yes, he has a tremendous regular season record, but the point is, what do you do when you're in a playoff game like Lamar Jackson, and you're away and it's snowing out and it's cold and you don't want to throw the ball and you struggle to throw the ball as it is? It's hard to win playoff games like that. I mean, you're going to rely on Lamar Jackson to use his legs. Go ahead, because thus far he hasn't really taken any punishment. He hasn't gotten hit, as hard as a lot of the times. He doesn't even look like he's getting hit hard. So the fact that he's able to keep this up for so long is impressive. The point is, when he hits 30 years old, what are you doing? Or 28?
He's 24 right now. He is 31-8. It's just so impressive.
Yeah.
John Harbaugh is his head coach. He does play for the Baltimore Ravens, historically very consistent franchise in the last 30 years. But regardless, I'll leave all that on the side. They believed in Lamar enough to build a team around him. And the way the Baltimore Ravens play now works for Lamar Jackson. Cool. I am being so straightforward with you. It works in the regular season. It's not going to translate in the postseason. It just isn't. The guy can't drop back and make the throws you need to make in the playoffs to win. It's that simple. Until he proves us wrong, that's the reality. And I wish it was different, believe me, because he's so fun to watch. But when his legs go away, you basically get a slightly more dynamic version of Cam Newton. Look how Cam Newton turned out when he stopped running the ball. Can't make a throw. Out of the league now. Lamar Jackson isn't some gifted thrower. If he was, he would be in Patrick Mahomes' conversation. And he would actually be better than Mahomes if he had a better arm and better accuracy. Because he's way more dynamic with his feet. But the guy can't draw back and throw. Kennedy?
Get it away from me, right, Adam? All right, well, coming up next, we've got to talk Monday Night Football, which means we're talking Lions and the Packers. So make sure you're sticking around for that. That's coming up next. But before we go, we need to talk about that yummy pizza from Papa Romano's.
All right, let me tell you about this Papa Romano's handcraft pizzas, because they've been made a Detroit favorite for over 50 years. House-made dough, hand-cut veggies, and fresh cheese make the difference. The same quality goes onto all their pizzas, salads, subs, and pitas. You can order now at paparomanos.com.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
Welcome back, everybody. You're tuning into the Morning Wood on the Woodward Sports Network. Happy to have you here. We've got Monday Night Football tonight. The Lions take on the Packers at 8:15 at Lambeau. That away game against the Packers. You know what it is. So the Lions actually just announced they're going to be rocking their white-on-white unis, so that's something to be excited about. If all goes wrong, at least they'll be in the white-on-white. I like it personally. But I've got to know what your guys' expectations are for tonight, and also we have to be prepared to have this conversation that maybe Rodgers isn't who he used to be, depending on how he performs tonight. I think we have to hold off on that, but...
Like if he's falling off a cliff or not? Yeah, I mean... It's week 2 of the NFL.
I'm excited.
I'm not ready to overreact on Aaron Rodgers.
And the last time he threw 2 picks, he won the Super Bowl in the first game. Not saying that's going to happen, but it's not a normal thing. I mean, unnormal thing to happen.
All right, well, things to watch tonight. We're going to figure out if the last 3 to 4 minutes of the fourth quarter against San Francisco were either a fluke or legit. That's what you're going to find out tonight. And hopefully they're not pinned in a situation where they're down 20, 30, 40. Heading into the fourth quarter, and then they just stack up garbage time points. But regardless, this is actually very unfortunate for the Detroit Lions tonight. It's just really bad timing. Aaron Rodgers coming off a career performance in the worst way possible. And the Green Bay Packers under Matt LaFleur are 6-0 coming off a loss. So the stars don't line up for the Lions tonight. Will the Lions be able to control the line of scrimmage similar to how the New Orleans Saints were? We'll wait and see. But I expect a completely different Green Bay Packers team. If there was ever a game for the Lions to win on primetime Monday Night Football away in Lambeau, it could be this one. Green Bay's coming off a terrible loss. You jump out at them early, they lose their confidence. You keep your foot on the gas. It could work. But regardless, the Lions have a losing record on Monday night. The Green Bay Packers don't. My marquee players for tonight, it's got to be Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones. The Packers need to run the ball. If they're not able to run the ball, they're going to put Aaron Rodgers in a bad situation. Granted, the Lions secondary isn't all that great. And Aaron Rodgers, you expect him to light it up tonight. But still, when Aaron Jones is playing solid football, he's getting his touches, getting his carries, he's running the ball consistently, it makes for a better, more all-around Green Bay Packers football team. A team that I think would be very difficult to beat if they're able to get their run game going early. Jeff, what do you think about tonight?
I mean, I have similar thoughts in terms of Aaron Jones because last week, 5 carries for 9 yards, no touchdowns. That's very, very unheard of Aaron Jones. Just re-signed that contract. You want the run game to get going. It's going to make Aaron Rodgers' job a whole lot easier. I mean, we know what he can do regardless, but even last year, it starts with that run game, and it allows so much more to open up. And if you have a team like the Lions who struggled to stop Elijah Mitchell last week, Aaron Jones should be in for a field day. You got A.J. Dillon back there in that backfield. I think they bounce back. Like I said, the last time Aaron Rodgers threw 2 interceptions on a season opener, he's had success come the postseason. So not saying it's going to happen, but Aaron Rodgers isn't, he's not unheard of to bounce back from bad openers. So it is what it is. I think it's going to be a tough game at Lambeau. But I think the biggest point of what you just said was, is last week a fluke? And that's what the big thing for this game is the Lions coming back, scoring, a total of 33 before losing 41 to 33. Coming out this week against the Packers, are you going to give up 41 points again? I mean, that's what we want to see. How bad is this defense? Are they inconsistent or are they just bad? That's the thing we got to determine. I want to see this pass rush. I mean, you got a Packers offensive line that struggled last week against obviously it's a New Orleans Saints front, but nonetheless, they're a new offensive line. They're still getting chemistry together. David Bakhtiari is still out. So I think it's a good game for Trey Flowers and Romeo Okwara to get off and get after Aaron Rodgers. But if they get the run game going and Aaron Rodgers is just dinking downfield, getting everything he wants, this game will be over quickly. But the Packers defense has been very shaky too, and I think they're missing one of their key defensive players tonight. So, it is what it is. I think the Lions got a decent shot, but it's a good measuring stick. You want to see how they do against a team that we all picked to win the division. I mean, that's just how it is. You want to see how they do against Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, and it's a game that we could take away from, especially after week 1. A lot of people gassing up the Lions, saying, "Oh, look at the late run they made, the fight they showed. Let's see if they continue that fight into this Monday Night Football, and we can it'll be a big measuring stick for this football team."
Every team needs a reality check. Every single team in the NFL eventually gets one. Week 1, Green Bay got one. You're not just going to be able to coast by and win football games like you did last 2 seasons, 13-3, 13-3. No. You got to earn it. You got to fight for it. Aaron Rodgers didn't play in the preseason, not like he has in past, but he did miss a majority of camp. So chemistry was off. Is a week enough time for them to get it back? No, they need the course of the season to get their chemistry back. But again, 6-0 under Matt LaFleur coming off a loss since he's been the head coach in Green Bay. The Packers are going to come out in the best version of themselves tonight. I expect them to come out and really make a statement. They can't afford a close game against the Detroit Lions. Not so much that a win close isn't important. A win is a win in theory, yes, but they really need to win and win in a good way. They need to dominate all aspects of the game if they want to consider themselves contenders. Now, where does that leave the Lions? Well, what we learned week 1 about the Lions is their backfield is a problem. In a good way. It's a problem for opposing teams. TJ Hawkinson emerging as a problem for opposing teams. The offensive line play, not bad. The defensive line play, wasn't all that great. The defense across the board wasn't that great, but still. This is a Lions football team that if you learned anything about them in week 1 is that they're not going to give up. They're not going to shrug their shoulders regardless of the score, something Green Bay clearly did against New Orleans in week 1. So, you know you're going to have to put up a fight. You know they're not going to be put away easily. And if you're Green Bay, I think that just lines up in your favor so much more because you know you have to bring it tonight. It's not a coast game. It's not, it's the Lions. No, this is like, if we don't bring our A game tonight, and I'm sure this is the message Matt LaFleur is sending, if we don't come out and play tonight, you can kiss this regular season goodbye because we'll start 0-2, and I believe the chances of making the playoffs when you start 0-2 are roughly anywhere from 15 to 17%. It's not great. And teams that start 0-2 and win the Super Bowl, essentially non-existent. So here we are. Green Bay has a lot to lose tonight. I think the Lions are playing with house money. From a betting aspect, betting on the Lions at plus 600-700 is such a friendly bet. It's a friendly bet. There's no reason why you shouldn't take it. But regardless, I think the Detroit Lions are in a bad position. I think it's wrong place, wrong time for them tonight. To go against a Green Bay Packers team that was embarrassed week 1, an Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams combination that likely is going to go off tonight. They're not going to sit quiet for 2 weeks. You know, when quarterbacks have bad weeks, typically you expect them to bounce back. And when it's the elite ones, it's okay, it's not going to last for too long. And again, that's why I think it's like very unfortunate. The Lions just picked the wrong time to play the Packers on Monday night. I don't think this is going to be a game that you can measure the Lions or the Packers on. I think this is one of the more difficult games of the year for me to read. We'll give our predictions later at the end of the show, but it's going to be a tough game for both teams.
The question I have is if you have Jimmy G week 1, and we made him look how we made him look early in the game. Obviously later, they took their gas off the pedal a little bit, or their foot off the pedal a little bit. So it is what it is. But earlier in the game, Jimmy G, what was he, 7 for 7, touchdown, had over 100 yards. If we can have Jimmy G look like that, what are we going to have Aaron Rodgers look like? That's the question. And what can the secondary do without Okudah? I know Okudah made some bonehead plays last week, but nonetheless, the depth is hurting. And, you know, you got a Packers team who, like you said, Matt LaFleur is talking to him like, hey, this team is hungry, and this team does fight no matter how far they're down. So that's a positive. You know, you got the Lions who they're not going to be slept on. I think the Packers are going to go out and take this very seriously, but I just think it's going to be the talent's too much for the Lions. But it's going to be interesting. I mean, again, it's a measuring stick to see how they measure, stand in this division. We all have them mostly at 3rd or 4th. So if they can come out and upset the Green Bay Packers, man, and put a statement in the NFL, I think that'll shock especially the Packers fan base. Oh my God, they'd be devastated.
Oh, this would be the most satisfying win, I think, if you're a Lions fan, if you're able to pull off a win in Lambeau on Monday night, essentially closing the books on Green Bay's season. It's tough to recover from 0-2. I think the way tonight's game scripts out realistically is the Lions come out and jump. They jump on Green Bay. They start 10-0, 14-0, and it's like, whoa, what just happened? And then Green Bay starts to settle in. I think, I don't know. We'll give the predictions later, but you know, strange things tend to happen on Monday night. So I'm excited for the game. I think it'll be a very good game. Kennedy?
All right. Well, I'm definitely excited for tonight. Remember, you guys can come hang out with us at O'Toole's in Royal Oak from 6 to 8 for the pregame show. So come on down if you're in the area and you can do that. I invite you to come hang. But coming up next, we're going to fill you guys in on what's happening with the rest of the NFL. I know we've talked Ravens and we've talked now Monday Night Football, but we've got to talk about the rest of our Sunday, right? So that's coming up next. But before we go, we need to hear about our friends over at Guardian Alarm.
Well, Guardian Alarm, they get it. And a good defense on and off the field helps you secure. Guardian Alarm has a state-of-the-art technology that helps you really feel safe, all with 24/7 local monitoring. Guardian Alarm also has convenient features that let you check in on your home, control lights and temperatures, detect smoke or carbon monoxide, and it will even let you lock and unlock your doors. Call 800-STAY-OUT today. That's 800-STAY-OUT. Guardian Alarm has been trusted for over 90 years at keeping families safe.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We're recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand. Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10 and a half months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire a graduate of Northwestern Tech. Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Welcome back, everybody. You're tuning into the Morning Wood on the Woodward Sports Network, featured on the Roar 93.5 FM, 99.1 FM, and 94.7 HD2. All right, we're going to talk Sunday Night Football. Or, well, we've already talked Sunday Night Football, but Sunday Day Football.
Around the NFL. Come on, Kennedy. You're better than
Sunday
this.
Day Football? That's what I'm going to go with. All right, so over the weekend we had Raiders versus Steelers, 49ers versus the Eagles, Cowboys, Chargers, Cardinals, Vikings, Titans, and Seahawks. So let's start with the Raiders beating the Steelers 26-17. Adam, what did you take from that game?
I took away the Raiders are no longer the stepchild in the AFC West. I'm really happy for Derek Carr. I already mentioned it earlier, what I think of him. The Raiders are now 2-0, winning on a short week, coming off a Monday night game against Baltimore, beating Baltimore, going away to Pittsburgh that following Sunday. It was an impressive win all around the board. What I've been trying to tell you about Derek Carr this whole time, I hope now maybe you open your eyes up and at least consider him a top 10, 12, 14 quarterback, preferably 12. What more do I have to say? Great win for Las Vegas. Great win for John Gruden. And the Steelers are what I told you they were last year when they were 10-0. They're frauds. I could care less about what you surround them with. As long as Big Ben is their quarterback, you're going to get lazy play from him. And it just doesn't work. They're not dynamic on offense. Najee Harris, a nice piece. I like him. He's good for fantasy. But you're not blowing away anybody with that offense. It's too predictable. Juju Smith-Schuster, you shouldn't have brought him back. You shouldn't have. Deontay Johnson, you hurt him. Lord knows what his injury is going to look like on that meaningless play against Vegas late. I'm very disappointed in Pittsburgh. What are they now? 1-1.
Yep. This might be the first year they have a losing record under Mike Tomlin. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, the Pittsburgh Steelers shown exactly, like you said, towards the end of last year. What were they, 11-0, end of the season, how they ended it. But it's a good win for the Las Vegas Raiders, especially Derek Carr, considering how he's played in the first two games, 28 for 37, almost 400 yards and 2 touchdowns. What do you have? Almost 400 yards last game. So he has been absolutely tearing up opposing defenses. No Josh Jacobs. They had pretty much no run game at all, and they asked Derek Carr to just throw him into a victory. And Henry Ruggs had a nice touchdown. You saw the throw by Derek Carr. It was right on the dime. But, you know, it is what it is. Las Vegas Raiders looked really good. The Steelers, that was a bad loss for the Steelers. I mean, that you dropped a 1-1. Najee Harris does not look like the Najee Harris from Alabama, only because they can't run block. This team still struggles, and the offensive line still is struggling horrendously. And Ben Roethlisberger's Ben Roethlisberger. It is what it is. But like you said, the receivers, like you got Deontay Johnson, who played well, got injured. Claypool, Juju Smith-Schuster. Like, what are we doing? This team, T.J. Watt is the only really light on defense that is giving them a glimmer of hope. But besides that, it was a good win by the Las Vegas Raiders. Hopefully they can keep it up.
Tomlin is a hell of a coach, I will say that. But there's 17 games this year. I think they're 8-9 this year. I think that's their record. I'm so annoyed with Pittsburgh. They should know better. They're such a good organization. They should know better. They should have had Big Ben's backup years ago. Grooming in the making. They messed it up multiple times. Mason Rudolph clearly, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And they haven't addressed it, and they're stuck with this old lazy bum who will have flashes throughout the year like, wow, he's slinging that's great. You're not winning anything with Big Ben anymore. Those days are long gone. So, next game, Kennedy. San Francisco versus Dallas. Jeff, Correct. You want to start with Dallas?
Oh, you mean Eagles? San Francisco?
I'm sorry. San Francisco versus Philly. Yep.
Listen, Jalen Hurts didn't have a turnover, but he versed a very frustrating defense. And Jimmy G early, I thought the Eagles were actually going to win this game. It looked like at least they were 7-3. And I'm thinking, wow, the Eagles have a chance to win this. They missed a field goal. They're still down by a field goal. But then, obviously, the 49ers just pulled it out. Jimmy G got it together, got his big boy pants on, and they pulled out a win. But 17-11 to an Eagles team that, you know, Jalen Hurts, he had a 300-yard passing game last game, comes out this game, has 82 yards rushing and 190 yards passing, trying to do it all by himself. But they had a couple touchdowns that were called back. They had one to Quez Watkins downfield, beautiful throw. That was actually called back because he stepped a little bit out of bounds. So there was a couple things that didn't go the Eagles' way, and they just couldn't capitalize. The San Francisco 49ers were the better team that day, and they got away with a win, even though it didn't look like they should have.
Yeah, the Niners are 2-0 now. It's great, but they'll need to address their offense very quickly. They need to improve, especially on the passing side of things. Kyle Shanahan is good enough to win you football games just with his zone running scheme alone. Yes, but George Kittle, quiet. 4 catches, 17 yards. Mm-hmm. Brandon Ayuk, quiet. I think only 1 catch. Deebo Samuel, quiet compared to what he did against Detroit.
Philly showed that their defense wasn't a fluke. They came out, they held the Niners to 17, although it felt like it was kind of the game plan to control the clock and keep Philly off the field. I'm happy for the Niners, happy for Kyle Shanahan. It's a good win. It's a good win. Moving on to Dallas and Los Angeles. Jeff, your thoughts. We both had Dallas winning this game on the upset.
We did, but wow, what a game. And obviously Justin Herbert, he had 2 interceptions, but that doesn't take away the fact that how great we think of Justin Herbert. And he is just so transcendent and so talented. Eckler played, obviously Keenan Allen. The duo of Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen is just beautiful to watch. But more importantly, Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. I mean, they were able to run the ball, Dak Prescott. And you know what happens. He only had to attempt 27 pass attempts, and he completed 23 of them. So he is efficient. If you have a run game, this is the Dak we've seen years ago with winning all those games. When Zeke Elliott and Tony Pollard, obviously now you have Tony Pollard. It's not just the Ezekiel Elliott show, but now that you have a run game, it's taking the weight off of Dak's shoulders. You got CeeDee Lamb, who played magnificent, and that's the difference with previous Dallas Cowboys teams. Is when Amari Cooper shuts down, he'll play very well for one game. Have 11 receptions last game for over 100 yards. Comes out this game, completely craps the bed. Now you have a CeeDee Lamb who can kind of take that role, and he's consistent. He had 8 for 81 again. The run game got going. Dak was able to turn into just game. I wouldn't say game manager Dak, but he pretty much was. He was making every correct throw. He looked great, and then the defense put it together. I mean, they held Justin Herbert to 2 interceptions and held him to 17 points. So you got to give credit where it's due. And you know what? We were right on this one, Adam. I didn't know it was going to win by 3, but it was close.
No, I mean, Vegas got it completely right on the money. Dallas, it just made so much sense for Dallas to win away. It was the call of the weekend, I think. That was the easiest bet to make over the weekend in the NFL. Taking Dallas with that dynamic of an offense before you even knew what happened in the game. Mm-hmm. To get that dynamic of an offense at plus 198, plus 205, whatever it was, regardless, it's so befitting of this franchise that they go away and beat a very good Los Angeles Chargers team. It makes so much sense. The Dallas Cowboys would do it. And they would follow up with a blowout loss to probably the New York Giants.
Right.
That's just the Dallas Cowboys. They're so unpredictable. It's a great win. I will say, and I don't compliment Mike McCarthy often, but that the defense looked solid. They looked really good. They forced Justin Herbert to throw his first interception in the red zone of his career.
Give Dan Quinn credit.
I'm happy with the Cowboys. Good for them. Moving on to Arizona, Minnesota. Probably the craziest game of the weekend, at least drama-wise. Jeff, where do we start?
You could start with that botched field goal at the very end. Listen, the Minnesota Vikings played extremely well. I think they played so well they kind of deserve the win. And it sucks because Kirk Cousins has a game like that, 22 for 32, 3 touchdowns. I mean, my God. They come out, and Dalvin Cook gets it going, 22 for 131. I mean, they played well. I mean, Justin Jefferson, we're waiting for him to bounce back, have a 100-yard game, but Adam Thielen, they all came to play. I think the more important thing is what I take away is the Cardinals, to me, were the second team in the NFC West, at least on paper, Game 1, and I hope they don't lose that spot because Game 2 looked absolutely awful, even though they won, and the Seahawks lost. I think the Seahawks lost to a better team. I think the fact that you let an 0-2 or 0-1, sorry, come into your home and lose by 1 point. And it was because of a botched field goal at the very end. Kyler Murray, 2 interceptions. I hope he has to sustain that good play from last week. He can't come out and throw 2 picks the very next week and expect to win football games, but they'll bounce back.
Arizona did everything they needed to do to lose this game, and they didn't. I think they're pretenders. I don't think they're serious. Somehow they won this football game even though their defense looked god-awful. And they made Kirk Cousins look like Tom Brady. That's never a good thing to do on defense. The Cardinals have a lot to improve on. The defensive line basically was non-existent. Dalvin Cook ran all over him. The secondary couldn't cover anybody. Thielen was always open. Fields was always open. Even KJ Osborne beat you deep. It was a bad game. It was brutal to watch. It was great for fantasy owners. Kyler Murray made some spectacular plays, some spectacular throws. Rondale Moore showed up, rookie out of Purdue. Big game for him. Lots of good takeaways on the offensive side of the ball. Defensive side, not too impressed. The Vikings losing back-to-back weeks, close games. They're 0-2. They've lost both games by a total of 4 points. And they probably should have beat the Arizona Cardinals, probably should have beat the Cincinnati Bengals. But hey, Shoulda, coulda, woulda, whatever. Moving on to the last game, and probably one of the most eventful games outside of Arizona, Minnesota. Tennessee and Seattle. Jeff, your takeaways.
Oh, my goodness. Derrick Henry's waking up this morning a little sore. 35 carries for 182 yards. Welcome back, Derrick Henry. 3 touchdowns. He absolutely ran them to victory. And this is the team that I expected to see. I mean, Julio Jones, 6 for 128. You want him to have a great game, good season for the Tennessee Titans. That's why they traded for him to help Ryan Tannehill. But they did exactly what they had to do. The Seahawks struggled just running the ball in general. I think Chris Carson, what do you have, 13 for 31. Tyler Lockett had an absolute monster game, but nonetheless, they just couldn't run the ball. This Tennessee Titans defense got to work, made Russell air it out, and they found success. They won in overtime, and you know, you can't take too much from it. I'm waiting for DK Metcalf to kind of wake up a little bit, because the last 2 games he's played, he's nowhere to be found. I've seen Tyler Lockett plenty of times.
Well, Tyler Lockett's benefiting from the attention DK Metcalf is getting.
It should be vice versa, at least in my opinion.
Not really. God, no. Tyler Lockett is not the number 1 on that team.
The last 2 games, he's been the number 1.
Statistically, yes, but the number 1 wide receiver on that team is DK Metcalf.
Okay.
He's the one that garners all the attention. And now teams ideally will have to think twice, and that opens up for DK.
Because even last season, Tyler Lockett was
he was, but he was inconsistent. He would give you 100 yards one game and 0 the next game, and then 155 the next game and 13 the next game. That's not a number 1. But regardless, the Titans got a lot of stick from me last week, especially after their embarrassing loss to Arizona. And they bounced back. I had them covering against Seattle. What were they, 6.5-point dogs? I liked it. I won the bet. I'm happy about that. But look, they went back to their roots. Fundamental defense, fundamental play on the offensive line. They fought in the trenches, and it's what kept them in the game the whole time, even when they were down 2 scores. Derrick Henry ran all over Seattle, and that's like that kill you over time mentality. It's like, we're going to keep giving the ball to Derrick Henry, and eventually you're just not going to want to have to tackle him. You'll tackle him in the first and second quarter, and then in the third quarter, you're like, wow, those hurt. Or in the fourth quarter, it's like, man, my arms hurt. Like, I don't know if I want to go for this guy. Let me tackle him high. And that's when he breaks away and scores all of his touchdowns. So it only takes one play for Derrick Henry. I'm really happy for Tennessee. There's a big win, good bounce-back win. I'm sure that probably puts them in pole position to win their division. I believe they're at the top 1-1 with Houston. Indy's 0-2, and Jacksonville's 0-2. So that's not saying much, but still, I'm happy for Tennessee. I still don't think they're legitimate contenders with Ryan Tannehill as their quarterback. So that was the weekend recap around the NFL. Those were the main games from Sunday that, a lot of implications. We saw the Bears win. So the Bears did beat, I believe, somebody help me out.
Bengals.
The Bears beat the Bengals. Joe Burrow he didn't look great. 5 interceptions all of last year, 3 attempts? Basically, in a 3 out of 5 attempts, he threw 3 interceptions against the Bears. It was awful. Justin Fields made his debut. He looked shaky as well. Speaking of rookies that look shaky, that's what we're going to talk about next, right, Kennedy?
Yes, we will be talking about some rookie QB growing pains when we come back. But before we go, we've got to hear about our friends at Lady Jane's, right behind me.
Guys, let's be honest. We like simple stuff, like football 5 days a week, and we like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's haircuts for men. Walk in, sign in, sit down, and before you know it, you're handsome and clean. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime because it's wicked awesome.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. With historically low interest rates and 5-star service, you could pay your mortgage off faster without increasing your monthly payment. Get started now at 248-308-5000 or chat with us online. Call hallfirst.com.
Morning, Art. Morning, D-Mac.
Welcome back, everybody. You're tuning into the Morning Wood on the Woodward Sports Network. All right, we've got to talk about these rookie QBs from over the weekend. Obviously, we had the rookie QB face-off between Zach Wilson and the Jets, and then Matt Jones and the Pats. The Patriots actually picked off Zach Wilson 4 times, so it didn't look good there. But Zach Wilson wasn't the only rookie QB dealing with turnovers and just struggling there. In general, Trevor Lawrence also wasn't looking nearly as good as he did in Week 1, in my opinion. But I want to hear it from you guys. What are your thoughts on these rookie QBs? Adam, let's start with you.
Welcome to the NFL. Is probably the best way to describe it. These are your growing pains, especially Zach Wilson. I'm so disappointed in the New York Jets and the way they schemed for the Patriots. Like, you couldn't have prepared your young rookie quarterback better. You knew you were going against Bill Belichick. You knew he was going to disguise blitzes, and you knew he was going to disguise coverage. And you still sat out there. And you sent Zach Wilson. You had him, attempt almost 40 pass attempts? What are we doing? You can't throw the ball as a rookie quarterback more than 30 times against Bill Belichick and expect good things to happen. Should have ran the ball more. But then again, the Patriots defense was just... They had an answer for everything. Whether it was the run game, the short outs, the deep balls, it didn't matter. They had everything answered and ready for New York's offense. Zach Wilson looked god-awful. He's got 5 interceptions through 2 games, but Trevor Lawrence has 5 interceptions as well. He's not looking all that hot either. 118 yards against the Denver Broncos, who are emerging as probably one of the better defenses in the NFL. You have to give them credit. I'm not sure what to take away from the rookie quarterbacks this week. Even Justin Fields, the mistakes he was making, it's like, well, that's a rookie. That's why they're not ready. And that's the downside of playing your quarterbacks early. Are they mentally strong enough to overcome it? We'll see. Do I think Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson can? Maybe, yeah, ideally. But you can't send them out there and have multiple turnovers every game and expect them to just bounce back. The only quarterback I've seen in my lifetime that was able to overcome a 20 interception season is Peyton Manning. You got to have something special about you. I think Trevor Lawrence obviously does. But with Zach Wilson, you got to protect him better. Robert Saleh's got the defense looking good. They were a bend, don't break defense against Mac Jones and the Patriots, and they were set up in so many awful positions and still only held the Patriots to field goals. So there's good things happening in New York, but I'm not liking what I'm seeing out of the rookies right now. They just look not ready. They don't look ready at all.
Yeah, it's definitely welcome to the NFL. I mean, Mac Jones didn't throw a passing touchdown, so there is that. But on the flip side, he didn't have a turnover either. So the fact that Zach Wilson had 4, I think he had 3 in his first couple pass attempts, wasn't good. And a couple of those interceptions were right into the DB's hands. I mean, J.C. Jackson was standing still, and it went right into his hands. So Zach Wilson needs to turn some of those things around. I think there's more to it than just calling Zach Wilson a bad quarterback. I think it's him adjusting to the NFL. I think where he is as a quarterback affects him. Similarly to Trevor Lawrence with Jacksonville. I don't think him having 5 interceptions tells his complete story at all. Same with Zach Wilson. So even if they're among the top in quarterback interceptions for rookies, I wouldn't pay too much attention to it. It's the second year. I mean, you see Josh Allen in year 1. He was 11-12, 11 touchdowns, 12 picks. Comes out year 2 and just slowly gets better. This is what we want to see out of those guys. But you can't deny it was not good. I mean, even Justin Fields in his limited action, he threw a pick. I think the only quarterback that really hasn't thrown an interception would be like a Trey Lance because he hasn't played enough. So.
Trey Lance and, fun fact, Mac Jones has yet to throw an interception.
Well,
2
yes.
games in.
Mac Jones has looked like a pro already.
Dude, he's everything the Patriots knew they were getting the moment he fell to them at what, 13?
14, yep.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's
consistent. He's not going to... Okay, so remember the flea flicker? This is a perfect example, and it sums up the difference between Mac Jones and Zach Wilson 1,000%. New England ran a flea flicker. Essentially a flea flicker. They tossed it outside to, I believe, Damian Harris. He threw it back to Mac Jones. Mac Jones had every opportunity to throw the ball deep to Nelson Aguilar. That's what the play was designed for. And you know what he did? He had the opportunity to go deep. He took the 19-yard guaranteed play. He threw it down to Jonnu Smith, I believe, is who caught the ball. He took it 19 yards, not only a first down, much more, and they were set up for a red zone opportunity. Zach Wilson, on the other hand, if you would have called that play, he would have likely tried chucking the ball downfield. Could have been intercepted. Could have been a touchdown. Who knows? We wouldn't have known. But that is the difference. You're getting consistency and really good quality quarterback play from Mac Jones. He's really yet to disappoint me. I'm really happy for him. Happy for New England. Like, they made a ballsy decision cutting Cam Newton. It's worked out. It's worked out. Mac Jones clearly the better quarterback. I'm happy for him. So we'll leave it at that. Jeff, before we segue out of here, I want to preview a little bit tonight's marquee matchups between the Lions and the Lions and the Packers. So if you got to compare, let's say, offensive line, defensive line to defensive line, secondary to secondary, special teams to special teams, who are you giving the advantages to? Let's start with special teams.
Well, I'll give the special teams. I believe the Lions can be better in that area, but let's get to like the offensive line. I think the Lions can overtake the Packers in that area. I just think this offensive line, the pass game it's been okay, but in the run game, the run blocking is off the charts. I think this offensive line as a unit, once Taylor Decker gets back, is just better. But right now they got couple guys on the Packers offensive line that are pretty good. Last week they didn't play too well. Will they play better this week against our defensive line? Maybe. But in terms of defensive line, I don't know. I think the Packers are in terms of production this year, both teams haven't looked good. So you might even give the Lions the edge coming out. I think they come out, Romeo Cora gets a sack or two, and they can make some noise. You could easily give it in the favor of the Lions, but in most areas it goes like the secondary goes to the Packers. I mean, Jair Alexander, are you kidding me? I mean, they have better players, but in a couple areas I think the Lions can beat them out. Like in the run game, maybe they have a better night, but Aaron Jones, if he comes out and plays well, he'll shut that conversation right down. So
fair enough. Defensive line. Who's got the better defensive line in your opinion? I'm gonna lean Green Bay, although I don't think either are so impressive. Whether I give the Lions or the Packers the check, it doesn't really make me feel any better about either team. So the offensive line for sure. Detroit. Can we agree on that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give Detroit the benefit of the doubt there.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, regardless, I'm excited to see Penei Sewell second time starting at left tackle tonight. We saw over the weekend a lot of things play out in college football that I think are going to affect the Lions heading down the road. But we do need to head to break. So, Kennedy, get us out of here, please.
All right. Coming up next, we're going to talk about that Rams versus Colts game that was happening yesterday. So stick around for that. But before we go, Adam's got to tell us about his buddies over at BetQL.
BetQL. They work wonders. I'm cheesing right now. I went 4-1 using BetQL data models over the weekend. It was free money. The only one I missed on was KC to cover. That was it. And I used more of like my gut feeling than really the BetQL model, even though they told me to take it. But still, like if you want to get an advantage while betting, and if you're betting consistently, there's no reason why you shouldn't be signed up with BetQL. Use code WSN. Get 25% off their subscriptions. They have all the data and analytics a bettor could ask for. So far, I believe I'm 9-2 on the year using BetQL's data models on my bets. That is way better than what I do. Now, it may be an anomaly. I don't know. But you know what? It's working right now, and I'll keep you posted. But I believe 5-1 last week, 4-1 this week. I am more than happy with using BetQL. I am so happy about it. Good call. Sign up using, again, code WSN. They'll give you 25% off any of their subscriptions, whether it's monthly, weekly, annual. Use it, and we'll see you after the break.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust-resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
Welcome back, everybody. You're tuning into the Morning Wood on the Woodward Sports Network. Happy to have you here. We've got to talk about the Rams versus the Colts from yesterday. The Rams beat the Colts 27-24. Pretty close game we had there, but I want to hear about our ex-QB from you, Adam. What did you think of Stafford's early performances in that game?
Oh, my goodness. My goodness. He's playing phenomenal. Made a bad mistake early on in the game, but him and Cooper Kupp, that connection looks so dangerous. It's probably the best 1-2 punch outside of Rob Gronkowski and Tom Brady right now in the NFL. Playing excellently. Stafford continues to impress. The Rams defense looked a little leaky. They were kind of exposed against an average Colts offense. I wasn't worried too much, but Jalen Ramsey really got a number done on him by Michael Pittman Jr. I wasn't expecting that. But the defensive line was everything you thought it was going into the game. Non-stop pressure on the quarterback, and they really limited Jonathan Taylor and Naheem Hines in the run game. So overall, good performance. Carson Wentz, I brought it up earlier. I am done. I'm fed up. I'm fed up with Carson Wentz and this entire narrative surrounding him. To stand on the sideline, down 27-24 with what? Just over 2 minutes left in the game, and you're not out there? because you were rolled up on by Aaron Donald? Why aren't you in the locker room? Someone explain to me. I am beyond fed up with Carson Wentz this morning. If I'm an Indianapolis Colts fan, I'm making a call to Phillip Rivers. Listen, I know you're enjoying coaching your kids' high school. It's great. But listen, hey, anything for you to just come back. This guy is a waste of time. He's playing like garbage. Like, I can't stand Carson Wentz. But let's take the positives out of the game. The Rams have surrounded Matthew Stafford with the best defense he's ever had, the best offensive weapons he's ever had, and he's benefiting from it. And he looks really good doing it. And I sent out a tweet yesterday about Sam Darnold and Matthew Stafford. I said that your previous or your past doesn't define you or your future. Sam Darnold with the Jets, what a bust. Horrible prospect. He's not going to succeed anywhere. Here he is, 2-0 in the NFL. He's played very well. His first 2 games, only 1 turnover. Okay, Matthew Stafford, 2-0. Looks extremely explosive with this Rams offense. Cooper Kupp rejuvenated when healthy. And he's provided something they've been missing since really Jared Goff was in his prime 3 years ago. And we're seeing the Rams really look like true NFC contenders. So my takeaways are Carson Wentz is garbage. He needs to go. The Colts need to find a quarterback ASAP, whether it's Deshaun Watson. I could care less. Go get Cam Newton. Anything is better than Carson Wentz right now, especially with him standing on the sideline. Jeff, what'd you make of the game?
Similarly to you, I think Carson Wentz, they need a decent backup. I mean, a Jacob Eason coming in late in the game and throwing a pick. Like, you need a guy like Philadelphia had Jalen Hurts sitting behind Carson. Many believe that was a dumb decision to have a quarterback sitting behind your starting quarterback, but the fact is, with Carson Wentz, you just don't know. I mean, you saw it last in the game. He rolled his ankle, had to sit on the sideline, and he had a game-winning drive he refused to get in the game to go and be a part of. So, and I guess I understand it was injury-related, but nonetheless, I mean, my God, the Rams, yes, they were able to stop the run. Jonathan Taylor, 15 for 50. They looked good defensively. Jalen Ramsey had some slip-ups on Pittman, but overall, they held them. They got 2 turnovers on the Colts. I mean, yeah, they won by 3, but a win's a win. I think Matthew, besides the interception, he looked dang good. Him and Cooper Kupp, that connection. I mean, he loves throwing to Cooper Kupp. The guy's wide open every single time. He's a fantastic route runner. Not only that, but yards after catch guy. I mean, he is Golden Tate on steroids. You give him the ball, man, and he'll make a 10-yard catch into 25 yards. It's ridiculous. So
Cooper Kupp is a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL right now, and as long as he stays healthy, it'll continue to be that way. I love watching people drive up on the curve and absolutely destroy their car. It throws me off every morning. It's the weirdest thing. Moving on. So here we are. The Rams are 2-0. Sean McVay getting everything he wanted out of Stafford so far. And, you know, again, this is the Colts, Adam. Well, the Colts are dark horses to make the playoffs and to win their division this year. Let's backtrack a little bit. They did go on the road and win against a good football team, something Stafford hasn't done in Detroit. So, it's early. I'll make my conclusion on Stafford at the end of the season. Once the whole season is played out, the postseason has played itself out, I'll know what Stafford is. But so far, so good in LA. You can't complain on either side from what Matthew Stafford has given the Los Angeles Rams. It's more than Jared Goff gave them last year or the year prior or the year prior to that. So they've won the trade so far. Both teams won the trade, if you look at it. And the only way long-term the Rams win the trade is if Stafford delivers an NFC Championship game in a Super Bowl. It's that simple. But right now, if you're a Rams fan, you're happy. Like, yes, that's what we wanted. Okay, that's what we gave up 2 first-round picks and our quarterback for. I'm on board with it. That's what you want. And even after the horrible interception, and then the Colts went down and scored, and they were down, what'd Stafford do? Went down and scored right away. They were down 24-17. All the momentum was in the favor of the Colts. They had just not blocked the punt. It hit the, whatever you call him, the guy who stands behind the punter or the long snapper. Hits him. Colts pick it up, touchdown. The weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. Everything is going in the Colts' way. Matthew Stafford comes down, answers 44 yards to Cooper Kupp, and then I believe another 20-yarder to Cooper Kupp. And now you're on the board in 4 plays. The game is tied. They get the ball back. After that, they go down, kick a field goal up 27-24. The game is history. Stafford looks really good. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for the Rams. I think they're contenders, and I think they're the only legitimate contenders in the NFC to Tampa Bay. So my takeaways, all around impressive performance for the Rams. Good for Stafford.
And speaking of Tampa Bay, they got Tampa Bay next week. I believe in LA. So that's a good measuring stick for this team. 2-0 teams.
That'll be the first team that Stafford plays in a Rams uniform that has a winning record. So we all talk about the 8-67 record against winning teams. Even if they win next week, is it enough, Jeff, to change the narrative? No, we agree, right?
Yep.
One game isn't enough to change the narrative. But if he goes throughout the season, beats Seattle, beats the Cardinals, beats the Niners, now we're in business, right? So continue, please. The Rams.
That was pretty much my point. Like, him going against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it's a good measuring stick. And you saw the record of against him and good teams. Like 2-0 with the greatest QB of all time behind center. That's who he's going against this Sunday. So I think that's a good test for them. Defensively, I think Stafford's going to have his hands full, and so is Tom Brady. I mean, Matthew Stafford has two of the top defensive players at their position, so that's a positive thing, man. And they're going to help him throughout the season. A lot of people think he ain't going to have to do it all by himself. Like when the Rams needed to come up with a stop, they did. And
thank you.
And it helped.
The Rams forcing 2 turnovers in the red zone isn't an indictment on Matthew Stafford. So I'm not sure where you guys are even going with that. The fact that he actually has help is a bad thing now. So what the Lions couldn't provide Matthew Stafford, which is red zone defense over the 12 years, he's being criticized for now and held accountable for in Los Angeles because he has one of the best defensive fronts in the NFL and one of the best secondaries. Guys, the whole point of the Rams trading for Stafford is they felt he could take them to the level that Jared Goff couldn't. And so far, the Rams look really good with Matthew Stafford. They just beat a very good football team away on the road. What more do you have to say? Seriously, I'm kind of lost here. Jeff?
No, that's it. That's all I had to say.
All right. We got to segue back to Monday night. Monday Night Football tonight. We have our predictions coming up after Fish's Facts around 9:53, 9:54, whatever it may be. We'll give you our game predictions. But, Jeff, here we go. Now we're going to talk about scenarios. In the scenario that the Lions pull a win off tonight, what does that do for, one, your confidence in the team and Dan Campbell moving forward, but two, your perspective on the season? Where does that leave them going in? They'll probably be tied for the NFC North at 1-1. It's a little early for talking about division champs, but kind of walk me through your mindset if the Lions are able to walk away tonight with a victory.
Well, if the Lions are able to walk away with a victory tonight, not only because we only have one game with this whole regime. It's the game versus the 49ers. They clawed back at the very end, showed they had fight. If they come in this week and win versus an opponent that I and many other people expect to win the division, you better start paying attention, because I'm not saying they're going to finish with a winning record, but it's an impressive win. Like, I have this team at, 6 wins? And I think a good start is to beat the Packers in your own division week 2, because you got the Ravens next week. And the schedule will get a little easier through the middle of the schedule. But in the early on, I said they can go 0-3. And they're 0-1 right now. If they beat the Packers and go in, and let's say they make it competitive versus the Ravens, you should be excited as a Lions fan if this team is holding in, clawing in these games that many people expect them to lose. I think that's what you have to take away, because any success this season shouldn't be expected. In terms of a playoff win or like 10-7, like, I love the Fish enthusiasm, but it just shouldn't be realistic, at least this season. It's too early in the retooling process. I mean, this team needs to add more talent. So I think if they come out and beat a Green Bay, who just it was against the Buccaneers, lost deep in the playoffs last year, yes, you should be excited. I think it's a positive thing to take away.
Yeah, if I play that scenario in my head, it's a big win. It's a statement win. It's probably, I think Dan Campbell's biggest win this year is going to come on Thanksgiving Day. He needs to win that football game. That just is so fitting of how he is as a coach, right? You talk about energy, leadership, culture. Well, winning on Thanksgiving is a big deal here in Detroit, and they haven't seen much of it in recent years. So to be able to win on Thanksgiving, I think, is probably going to be the highlight game for Dan Campbell. But you walk into Lambeau and you win on Monday night, and you cause the Green Bay Packers to go 0-2, it is a big win. Now, are they a playoff team? No, I'm not changing my mind overnight that they win a game in Lambeau. That's not how the NFL works. But it would be a very impressive win. You want to talk about something to build off of? It gives you a lot of confidence when you can go beat a good football team away from home. So big potential for the Detroit Lions tonight. Kennedy, I want your thoughts. If the Lions somehow magically pull off a win tonight, does that change your mindset going towards forward for the rest of the season, or are you kind of are you still on the fence, or what happens tonight?
I would probably still be on the fence. I mean, a lot of people, when we were doing our super early season predictions going into the season, we said that we would split with the Packers. So I would say we're just going to lose the next one probably, as much as that hurts me. But also, I think maybe it would change my perception of the Packers more than it would change my perception of the Lions, I would say. Is that fair?
Fair enough.
Yeah. So, coming up, we're going to talk about, we have Fish's Facts next. How could I even forget? My favorite time of the day. We've got Fish's Facts coming up next. Make sure you stick around for that. But before we go, we need to hear about our friends over at Levels.
Guys, Levels is open in Centerline, and they're open around the state. Start right now by using code WSN or just mention Woodward Sports, and you'll get an additional 10% off whether you're in the store or on the app. Make sure to mention Woodward Sports for the additional 10%. Everything from T Grizzlies gas to D-Max specials and edibles all are on sale now. Download the Enjoy Levels app today, whether it's on iOS or Android, available in both stores. We will see you after the break with Fish's Facts.
Would you like to win a custom-built chopper while helping our veterans at the same time?
Then watch as we turn this bike into a one-of-a-kind classic chopper.
Watch the Call Sam Chopper Shop on our social media channels and get your raffle ticket today at callsam.com/chopper shop.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Is it time?
Yeah, it is. Fish!
Go fish.
Fish Facts.
It's fish!
Today's Monday. I hope everyone had an exciting weekend of what we had. Football, and more football over the weekend. We have a very exciting game tonight, which is the Lions versus the Packers plays tonight at Lambeau Field. Which, by the way, Lions will win tonight, just so you guys know. They'll win by 10 in Green Bay. Yes,
Fish,
Adam, they'll win by
Fish,
10.
I hope you're right. I'm not going to be a Debbie Downer for you today. I wish everything you wish for comes true, Fish.
Well, I can assure you will. At 8:20 when they win the game, and then you'll be happy at midnight when they win. Coming tomorrow. Anyways, yeah. So we're gonna do a video today on a Happy Monday. A lot of stuff to pick from the weekend. But we go out to a rugby game that happened over the weekend, a quarterfinal game that happened over the weekend. This is the Panthers and the Eels that played on Saturday. I was watching this. It was multitasking. There were a bunch of games on at that time of day. And a very nice kick and score. They won the game 8-6 in what they're calling it the game of the year. So I was happy to be watching that. I was watching another game that was on at the same time.
What time was this on at?
It was on at 5:40. And I think they scored at 6:10.
Dang.
So it was good stuff over the weekend. Adam, did you enjoy your weekend of excitingness?
Yeah, it was nice.
Okay.
College football, Sunday football, everything was great, Fish. Anytime there's football, I dig it. I'm all for it, Fish.
Cool. I was going to bring up your team, but I'm assuming you didn't watch.
I didn't watch.
Yeah,
I'm a horrible person, Fish. I can only give my time so much, Fish.
Okay.
We have a Monday night pregame show and a postgame show to prepare for. You think I could just take the weekend off, buddy?
Well, there's something called multitasking.
What's up?
Multitasking. Have you ever heard of it?
You can't watch football and work at the same time. It's impossible. Whoever at home thinks they can do that, you're lying to yourself.
There have been people that have done that.
No, it's impossible. You can't be productive and actually get work done while watching football. You're checking your fantasy, and you're too obsessed with the game. It's the best sport in the world. Sorry.
Okay.
I know how you feel about the other football, Fish, so that's why I apologize.
No, you're good.
I didn't mean to hurt your feelings.
No, you didn't hurt my feelings, just a little bit. The Buccaneers yesterday looked very good. They're the first team in NFL history to score these 30 points and win in 9 straight games, including the playoffs. Brady was also the starting quarterback for the only other streaks that reached 8 games. So, he's 44, 45. He's played 301 games now. He said last week that he wants to play till 50. So we'll see if that happens. That'll be 2026. So long way away. By the way, World Cup's in 2026 in America.
Aren't they playing the World Cup in December, Fish, because of the weather?
2022, yes.
That's so weird.
In Qatar.
Is it that hot?
Yeah, it gets to about 50 Celsius, which is about 110 Fahrenheit. So if you walk out, and if you go to Florida, basically, you can just get that. Just go to Florida, go outside, and skin might swell up and die or whatever they say. Speaking of whatever they say, Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson won yesterday. Adam doesn't like him, but he won.
No, I did like it. Come on, don't put words in my mouth, Fish. He's great. Go ahead.
Okay.
Continue.
He collects his 5th career game with 200 passing yards, 100 rushing yards. No other player in NFL history have done that in more than 3 such games. Jackson's the only QB in Super Bowl era with 100 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns in multiple games.
Lamar Jackson is a problem. He is a threat. The knock on Lamar isn't that he doesn't work in the NFL. He clearly works. He's won an MVP. He's 31-8 as a quarterback. You can win football games with Lamar Jackson. But the problem is, when you invest in a quarterback, it's an 8 to 14-year commitment is what you're looking out of. 8 being like he doesn't work out, basically. But what am I getting out of Lamar Jackson in the postseason? What am I getting? Is he going to be able to do... If he can replicate this in the postseason, believe me, I would be so happy to eat crow on Lamar Jackson because I love stories like Lamar Jackson. Hardworking. Doubted in the draft. Fell. He was a Heisman winner. Fell. Baker was drafted 1. You're telling me Lamar couldn't be drafted higher? Like, I'm really rooting for Lamar. The problem he has is he's not accurate with the football on a consistent level. And that is going to kill you in the postseason. You can get away with throwing a pick 6 in week 2 of the NFL to start the game. And then you can miss Sammy Watkins wide open in the red zone on the sideline. And then you can throw an interception and still recover. It's fine in the regular season. But when you're trying to be great, elite, you got to do it in the playoffs. And Lamar Jackson, credit to him, last year won his first playoff game. Big step. Cool. This year, I'd like to see him take a next step. Go to an AFC title game. Then I would feel better about it. But he has so much to prove, and he's so inaccurate and inconsistent that it's hard for me to sit up here and say, yeah, he's elite. He isn't yet. Yes, he does have an MVP. Yes, he does win you football games. But what's your ceiling with Lamar? And I don't know that. And I'm afraid, and I am afraid, that his ceiling is nothing short of winning a wild card or divisional game, and that's it. And that's it. And if that's all you can do, how can I consider you one of the greats? He's probably the most gifted, greatest athlete we've ever seen enter the NFL and do what he's doing. It's ridiculous. But would I prefer to start my franchise with him or Mahomes? Well, I mean, right now it's easy to say Mahomes because he's accomplished. But like, even look at a Justin Herbert. You look at a Josh Allen. Like, who do you prefer over the next 15 years? Are you going to take the 6 years of dynamic football from Lamar, or are you going to take 10, 12, 14, potentially 15 years of elite quarterback play from somebody else? I mean, look at Tom Brady. He's pushing 45. Aaron Rodgers is almost 40 years old. He's still playing. So my concern, what happens to Lamar when he loses the step? That's all. It's not that I hate the guy. I think he's great. I really do, but his game doesn't translate yet. I hope it does. It would be groundbreaking. It would be a historical feat for him to pull through and win a Super Bowl. He would break the mold. Not that he hasn't already, but he'll really break the mold in the NFL. Then it's like teams are going for, oh my goodness, we got to win with quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson now. That's how teams would react, similar to how they reacted to Russell Wilson. That's why Baker's in the NFL. That's why Kyler's in the NFL. It's because of Russell Wilson, what he accomplished. So that's all, Fish. I don't hate the guy.
You can yell at him and tell him he's killing your Fish facts vibe.
Well,
shut up, Adam.
I love
It
Fish,
doesn't
but
matter. He's talking.
Fish needs to understand what I mean when I talk about Lamar Jackson. It's not fair. I don't want people to misunderstand what I'm saying, right, Fish?
I appreciate that, sir.
There you go.
Speaking of...
Stay out of me and Fish's conversation. Thank you very much.
Speaking of greatness, what you call Lamar Jackson, the Raiders are great, and they won yesterday against Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh, which is not a tough place to play, but they proved that wrong, and they have won yesterday's game. This is the first time the Raiders have opened 2-0 with both wins versus playoff teams from the previous season, albeit the Steelers choked against the Browns. Not good. In the Super Bowl era. Since 1966, it's the second time in Super Bowl era they have started 2-0 with both wins as an underdog.
Yeah, this is the start they were hoping for with John Gruden, and now they got it 2-0 after 4 years into his head coaching experience there. But
10-year contract.
They're finally getting it and finally clicking.
Speaking of overrated, Mr. Adam Baydoun, Bryce Harper got a 10-year deal. You call him overrated. John Gruden got a 10-year deal. Is he overrated?
Yeah, he's extremely overrated.
Oh,
For what he got paid, 10 years in the contract he was dealt, and now he's...
I wanted Adam's
He's
opinion,
having
but
his
it looks
first
like,
consistent
he's
year
gonna
where
talk.
he's batting over 300, hit over 30 home runs, and 100 RBIs.
But is John Gruden overrated?
It almost took 10 years, Bryce. Come
Okay,
on.
but John
and even
Gruden got
his
the-
numbers are not what you're paying him for. You're paying
Okay,
Bryce
I really
Harper
appreciate
that
you
money
listening,
for
Adam.
45 home runs and 130 RBIs.
Is John Gruden overrated?
John Gruden?
That's what he got a 10-year deal. Bryce
They
Harper
both
got
got
a
10
10-year deal.
John Gruden, it's too early. It's too early. They've improved every year record-wise, and now they're starting off 2-0 this year. You got to give John Gruden a little more time, in my opinion.
But haven't they had the same amount of years, basically? Harper's
They have
been
the
there
same
for, what,
contract,
5?
but that doesn't mean Bryce Harper has never lived up to what he was supposed to be. John Gruden has a Super Bowl, and here he is now. What 7-9, then 8-8, and now this year they've started 2-0, in one of the hardest divisions in the NFL.
Okay, but he had a
right
Super
now.
Bowl like 20 years ago.
I don't think John Gruden is overrated. Too early to say that.
Okay, I appreciate your honesty, Adam. Hopefully you'll like these birthdays today because we have some birthdays. Lately, you've actually been nice on some of these people. By the way, today's the 20th of September. Fall's coming up, by the way. So hopefully you're excited for some colder mornings and colder days. That doesn't make sense. Anyways, we have a Detroit birthday today that you guys will like. He was a linebacker for the Detroit Lions, TJ Lang. It is his birthday today. And I guess no one's got any thoughts on TJ Lang, so that's good. We'll move on to the...
I like
Thank you,
him.
Kennedy. Very appreciate Kennedy Broadwell being here today. We have another birthday. Kennedy, I'm sure you like this guy just as much as Urban Meyer, Tim Tebow, and all the other people. Whoop-de-doo. Carlos Hyde. It is his birthday today.
Why would Kennedy like Carlos Hyde?
Because she likes everyone from Ohio State, Notre Dame, Florida, and wherever they come from.
Fair enough.
Wherever they come from.
She's basically like a reverse Maz. Maz likes everything New York. She likes everything Florida, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Indiana, Midwest, Big Ten, Pac-12. I don't know.
I do love some action too, Fishy. Don't forget.
Oh, love action coming up soon, Tuesdays and Wednesdays. That's some good football. Slightly lower on the scale than CFL, but still up there. Speaking of CFL, 2 doubleheader on Friday. You guys don't care. Anyways, those are the facts. We'll be back for
Fish,
tomorrow.
I should kill you.
We will be talking about a Lions victory tomorrow, right, Adam?
Yeah, I hope so, Fish. I hope so. Speaking of Lions victory, we got to end the show with Monday Night Football predictions. We'll start with Kennedy, actually. I know, right? Kennedy, give me your take. Who wins tonight and why? Give me a score.
It's really hard because neither team was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be an obvious win. Because Packers looked bad and the Lions looked kind of bad until like the very end of the game. They gave us a glimmer of hope. Wow. I'm just going to go with the Packers to try and save my heart. To just like, you know, if you just say you're going to lose, then it's extra good when you win, you know? So that's what I'm going to do. Packers win so my heart doesn't hurt later.
Fair enough.
you, Adam?
All right. Well, I think the Packers win. I think they win 34-24. I think the Lions come out to probably a 7-0, 10-0 lead, and then the Packers settle in and really put their foot on the gas. This is a game where, again, Matt LaFleur and the Green Bay Packers, 6-0 coming off a loss during his tenure. Is Aaron Rodgers really going to have back-to-back awful weeks? You look at the Lions secondary and compare it to New Orleans, it's nowhere near the same. And Jimmy Garoppolo essentially looked pretty good against Detroit. So just imagine what Aaron Rodgers with better weapons will look like against this Detroit Lions secondary. I don't think they're going to be able to put enough pressure on Aaron Rodgers to really affect him and make him throw multiple interceptions like he did against New Orleans. Green Bay bounces back. I've got it 34-20. Unfortunately, I don't think the Lions have the firepower to match up with Green Bay, and they don't have the defense to stop Aaron Rodgers or Devontae Adams.
I'll go 31-21. Why not? Packers win. I think, like you just said, one of my points was the Lions defense hasn't shown they could put pressure. I mean, yeah, they had a little bit of pressure on Jimmy G, but in how many snaps? Like that, this is the problem. Like this week versus the Packers, the New Orleans Saints got to Aaron Rodgers. he had that Pat McAfee interview where he said he took the nut shot, which caused the interception. Like, I don't believe the Lions are going to get to Aaron Rodgers to hit him in the nuts to make him throw the ball the other way. So it is what it is. I got the Packers winning. I think, like you said, the record 6-0 after losing a game. I think that says a lot. It says a lot about Aaron Rodgers, and I think they come out and win.
You got to disappoint me.
All right.
You just got to be realistic, Fish. That's all it is. I love the Lions, but come on. If I'm going to sit here and say they'd win, I don't have any reasons why they'd win. I honestly don't. Packers are playing bad, I guess could be a reason, but they're going to bounce back. So.
All right, you guys. Well, that's all we have for today. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. Don't forget, we have our pregame show tonight at O'Toole's. And also, don't forget, we've got Friday Night Clash every single Friday. This week's matchup is Belleville at Dearborn Fordson. Wow, my brain. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching. We will be right back here tomorrow. This is Woodward Sports.